lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
From Daytona International Speedway, debuting on Sim Racing Media for the first time in their history, the HTL Cup Series is ready to get it on here tonight to qualify in Duel right here, just 2 blocks away from where our sport started. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth on a maiden voyage that you won't forget anytime soon. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen are with you here on Sim Racing Media, and we'll be with you every step of the way. From the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. Alan, here we are. We've been talking about this for weeks, and finally, we get to take the cover off the car here for the HTL Cup Series.
Yeah, look, I'm excited. We're going to go qualifying. 1 car at a time, single car qualifying here, and then we're going to move into the duels. Now, the way this is going to work is the 2 open qualifying times will lock themselves in automatically for the last 2 spots. The top open finisher from each duel will make the 500. We're sending 2 guys back home on the trailer, and they will not race next Monday.
Certainly not the way that you want to start off your season, but You know, every season's going to have to start somewhere. And, of course, like the old saying goes, in NASCAR, we do things a little bit backwards. We have our Super Bowl here at the beginning of the season instead of the end. Of course, we're looking here across the beautiful 2.5-mile super speedway in Florida. We're waiting for some of these drivers to hop into their race machines. Folks, you're going to learn to know these guys and gals in and out here on the racetrack all season long. You'll be able to tune in with us. And, of course, you know, every week we're going to have something new for you. We're going to have something fresh, something fast. And tonight, as we get ready to roll, let's take a look at our current conditions. 71 degrees, the outdoor ambient air temperature. Of course, that takes the track temperature, makes it 73 degrees. Now, we talked about this in pre-race production. And, of course, here at Daytona, every setup is going to be open for this week. The rest of the season is going to be fixed setup. But tonight, guys and gals are going to be able to twist those chassis and make those cars just comfy enough to boogie around this place in the 500 next Monday night. But, you know, Alan, here's the thing. That does take some of the headache out of driving these cars for some of these drivers when you're able to make those chassis adjustments, no?
Absolutely. And, you know, when we get to the fixed setup portion of the season, that's when we're really going to see these drivers, you know, kind of, you know, have to adapt, if you will. And right now, these open setups, they've been working all day. They've ran thousands of laps here, team testing to get these setups right, and all just to make 2 laps around this 2.5-mile Daytona International Speedway.
Of course, we're waiting for our first few drivers to hop into the cars. Tonight's first qualifier going to be Lily Sharp. I don't see Lily out on track just yet. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't see Lily in the session as it stands right now. However, that's going to take us right over here to the next driver. That's going to be Callie Height. Callie Height coming to the end of pit road. So everybody lining themselves up. This is going to be single car qualifying. So everybody's going to load up here. We'll see all of them right here on your screen. This isn't going to be like a normal iRacing broadcast when qualifying happens. Cars won't be disappearing tonight, as Mark Parkhurst is going to be the first to get off of pit road and get this number 77 Toyota Camry spiced up here. Now, we take a look here at Mark. He's from Enfield, New Hampshire. And, you know, here's the thing, Alan. I don't get to New Hampshire very often, but I feel like things get pretty fast up there. Now, we saw here on the 77 that, of course, he's from OD3 Racing, and he's got 1 Cup Series win at Bristol back in Season 2. Daytona's a little bit different from Bristol.
Yeah, it's a lot of it different from Bristol. So, I mean, I feel like he's got the pretty good line right now. Start high and work your way low.
Yeah, the important thing in Cup qualifying is always going to be trying to keep the car as high as possible, build up as much speed as you can in that machine, and then go ahead and take it low. That way you can get that fast qualifying lap as you take the shortest way around the track with the most amount of speed. As we take a look here off the deck lid, we can see nice and cozy here is Mark Parkhurst. He's a little bit off that double yellow line, and of course the double yellow line, we hear about it during speed weeks, and of course we're getting ready to hear that in about a month, is the out of bounds line. You cannot go below the yellow line in advanced position here at Daytona below that double yellow line. Taking a look at Callie Height here in the 88 out of Brighton, England, and Callie just disappeared. Maybe a little bit of a connection issue. That's going to pose an interesting situation in the draft.
It is, as Mark Parkhurst goes to the top of the board with a 49.57.
The Brighton, England native still having some connection issues. That's going to be a problem, especially in the draft. I mean, you know, here's the thing, folks. When we talk about connection issues, you're going to see perhaps, you know, Callie disappear off your screen. That's not intentional. You know, that's being literally on the other side of the world from where the server is. And, of course, the server for this particular race is probably in Boston. I didn't check before going on the air, but if you could check, Alan, I'm 99% sure that we're in Boston for this server. As Callie Height goes out, let's see who else is coming out here. Seth Wansing out of Peculiar, Missouri. Now, I know someone who is peculiar from Missouri. I'm sitting next to him here in the broadcast booth.
Absolutely. Driver out of Peculiar, Missouri, driving the NFG Motorsports Toyota Camry. This will be his 28th attempt at a Daytona 500. So he finished second here in his 27th.
Yeah, 28 attempts, and of course the interesting thing is, his highest finish at Daytona is 6th in the Busch Light machine. I'll tell you what, Busch in a Toyota just seems a little bit better to me. I'm not a Toyota guy, but for some reason it really pops on this Camry chassis.
It does, and another driver making it happen here in Daytona. Got pretty much well iced in out there in Peculiar, Missouri. Want to give him a shout out as Dale Markowski is on track now.
Yeah, Dale Markowski out of the Carolina Beagle Racing stable in his Chevrolet Camaro from Cleveland, Ohio. The Mistake by the Lake is making his first start here tonight in his Chevrolet. I shouldn't say. I mean, look, it's Cleveland. What else can you say? They got rid of their baseball team, became the Guardians. Oy. But Dale Markowski now starts to hug that double yellow line a little bit better here. We're going to see a really good time out of him. 181 and 2 going into turn 1. Backs it off to 180, climbing out of turn 2. He's got himself quite a run.
Not too bad.
We're going to get a chance to talk with Mark Parkhurst if we can.
I was going to say it's his first. So Dale Markowski is going for Rookie of the Year this year. He's making his first ever start in the HTL Cup Series.
Hey, Mark, it's Dave and Alan up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Buddy, listen, first off, we want to welcome you here to the Tony Trepassen Memorial Broadcast booth. You're the first driver here in the league that we've interviewed here in the 2025 campaign. How did the qualifying effort go, and how did things feel out there on the racetrack? 75 degrees is a pretty cool track temperature. Keeps things pretty grippy.
It is. If I knew anything more about setups, I think I would head a little bit more for them, but I just messed with some tire pressures a little bit, threw some extra weight in the back, and went for it. And obviously, it's like I had cement blocks on the back of that thing, so going to be watching a lot of cars out in front of me, I think.
Here's the thing. For those of us, that have the everyday jobs or in school or whatever it is, we can't always be parked there and trying to be that mad scientist at the helm of the setup machine. You know what I mean? It's really tough for a lot of us to try to get our arms around the setups. I was always very fortunate during my driving days to have a mad scientist say, "Here, try this. It'll be fine."
Yeah, I was just tagged to drive this car like an hour or so ago, so I didn't really have time to find anyone who did have a setup or figure it out myself. But figure give it a best shot tonight, see if we can get a good starting position for the actual race next week, and maybe by then find somebody who can help me out with the setup and go for it next week.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, good luck tonight. Good luck here in the 2025 season, and hopefully we're going to see you here on the podium one of these weeks, and hopefully, tonight here in the duels, you've got a lot of success for you.
All right, thank you, and I appreciate being the first interview. That's a huge honor.
Well, hey, somebody had to do it, and it just happened to be you, so we appreciate your time. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Get him back on down here to the Premier Racing Club alongside Richard Odie. Haven't seen him out on track yet. Kevin Gibney Jr., he just went P2 here in the number 31 out of Revere, Massachusetts. Can't imagine where they might have named that town from. Perhaps he's a good midnight rider, if you will.
Bailey Thompson out of Huntsville, Alabama. He goes torch fastest with a 49.41 at 180 miles an hour on his second lap. I like that line that he's running, though, Dave. I mean, right there, tucked on the inside line. Make this track as short as possible.
Yeah, 2.5 miles is already pretty long. He's still got about 3 feet between those left wheels. There it is. He had about 3 feet between his left wheels and that double yellow line. He keeps coming off of it, so he may be fighting a little bit of a loose condition. Don't really see too many busy hands. But in clean air like this, your hands aren't going to be that busy. But, you know, eventually your hands get busier than a test bench in a plunger factory. Here's Matt Boone out of Rhinelander, Wisconsin. And correct me if I'm wrong, but there's somebody that we had recently seen on track who is also from Rhinelander, Wisconsin. I know I'm not wrong. I just can't think of who it was. Now I need to know if they're cousins. Matt Boone here goes 6th fastest in his first lap. Now as he comes out of turn 2, he's running 178 down the backstretch. That's not going to do it for David Wright. 181 for Matt Boone. Now David Wright pulls on down pit road. Drivers still trying to get themselves lined up here. And here comes Boone through the tri-oval. We take a look here. Ross Baxter. He's here in the 38. We're waiting for him to hop in. And lined up and next to go going to be the 74. And that's Jeremy Brault. Just waiting for Jeremy to come off in the Taco Bell machine. That's a paint scheme we don't get to see very often. I feel like anybody who eats Taco Bell probably runs faster and drives faster than anybody else. I've never gone quietly to the bathroom after Taco Bell. I'm usually in a hurry.
Well, as the 24-year-old out of Pittsfield, Massachusetts, rolls off onto the speedway, he has no Cup Series wins in HTL, Cup Series, 1 playoff appearance, 3rd in the HTL, 3rd season, 13th in points last season. His highest finished September 26th on September 26th, 2nd at Kentucky, 3rd Daytona 500 attempt, 6th and 2nd.
Want to take the time to welcome everybody into the YouTube.com live chat. Let us know what you're watching and who you're cheering for here tonight as we keep an eye here on Jeremy Brault. And I just want to check one thing here, speaking of Jeremy. Briault. It is Briault. I knew something didn't feel right. Sometimes I get a little bit too much into the hockey bag and I pronounce everything very French. But anyway, needless to say, you're listening to Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you live in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth as Sim Racing Media spends our first night here with the HTL Cup Series. And let me tell you, so far, Alan, I've seen some really interesting times. We've met some really cool people here in this league. And I want to thank everybody for tuning in, making us a part of your evening. Of course, we also want to thank our sponsors, Henderson Graphics. Of course, let's just say the passion project of one of the drivers here. And, of course, one of the most important drivers. He's an admin in this league, Blake Henderson. As, without him, we wouldn't be here tonight, quite literally.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, and we're excited to be here, and we're excited to bring you all the action here. Don't forget, after this, we're gonna take a small commercial break before we get set up for the duels, so that way we can bring you all the action. It's gonna be 2 40-lap races with the field split evenly. And remember, if you're not timed in and you finish out of the top 2 spots out of the duels, well, you're going home on the trailer.
And believe me, nobody wants to be first on the trailer at Daytona. I mean, this is the very beginning of the season. You want to make sure that you got yourself, something nice and comfortable here. As Jeremy Briault comes off the track, he goes 4th fastest. That seems to be the popular time. I feel like that means that Markowski, Gibney, and Wansing may have figured this place out. Of course, we didn't get a real chance to talk to Wansing.
Well, just to say that, Austin Mongold goes 4th quickest with a 49.39 in that number 29 car.
I I think we have a chance here to talk with him. Let's see if we can get a hold of Seth Wansing. Hey, Seth, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Hey, I got you.
Hey, man, listen, you're the second driver that gets to be interviewed here on your new broadcast partner, Sim Racing Media. Things seem to be going pretty well for you in the 5-car. How did you feel out there on the racetrack? 75 degrees, the track temperature, so nice and grippy for you.
Yeah, it felt good. I don't think the track had this speed that was pole-worthy, but the 5 Busch Light Toyota, almost said Chevy, I'm a Chevy guy, but 5 Busch Light Toyota was really fast. Got a couple different race trims that I can play with, so I prefer to race anyway. A pole would be great, but I like to race, and so we'll just see what happens. But the racetrack is definitely gripped up. Just doesn't have a lot of speed in it right now. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets a little bit more speed or someone catches a good wind. You get a high 2 or even get down in the 1s if someone hits a set right.
Now, I see that here over your career in the HTL League, after 4 seasons, you have 0 playoff appearances. What's going to be your strategy this year to try to get yourself into the playoffs and finally get over that hump and contend for the championship deeper into the season?
Make all the races. I've kind of ran HTL as a part-time guy the last 3 or 4 years. I'm gonna try to make the full schedule this year, but also have better luck. I've led laps, ran top 5-10 almost every race. It just when I'm in here, then just bad luck goes my way or bad strategy calls. So just making all the races and running full time this year would be new for me. I'm going to try my best to do that, even with a busy schedule, and give it a go.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations on the playoff run. Looks like John Hagan just dropped you back into P4, but, it's going to be a long night, couple of duels coming up, and, of course, the 500 next week. Obviously, you're going to be locked in on time, so on and so forth, so that's not going to be an issue for you. Looking forward to Daytona, one last question before we let you go. What's your draft strategy? Are you more of a let's see how long we can run up in the top, or are you a drop down in the back and kind of stay out of the way guy?
Oh, no, I'm usually the first person to want to make a third lane. I like to be, making moves, and you're not going to lead every lap, but if you can try to lead every lap, make the moves to lead every lap. And obviously there's times to be patient and times to go, and the difference between that. But trying to stay within that top half of the field is always my goal, and being aggressive because, with these next-gen cars, it's not like the older cars to where you can come from 25th or something. It's just, it takes a minute to build a run, get a line going. You see it in real life. It's no different here on the sim. You got to make moves to be up in the top 10 or 15 for track position-wise to be able to be there. So I'm pretty aggressive anyway. I'll be aggressive tonight, and we'll just see what happens and have some fun. These plate tracks are a lot of fun for me, and these duels are a good time to see what works and what doesn't, who's your friend and who's not.
All right, well, listen, my man, congratulations on the P4 run, P5 now, and hopefully we get to see you up here toward the front tonight. It's exciting to know that somebody's already going in here saying, no, I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to be up there. I'm going to be challenging. So good luck tonight. Good luck this season. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more from you over the next several weeks.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys coming along and broadcasting this stuff. Want to say hi to the family and girlfriend at home. Everybody grab yourself some dinner or, adult beverage or kid beverage if you're underage, preferably a Busch Light if you're an adult, and have a good time. Enjoy the show.
All right, my man. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
That's funny, Alan. He doesn't know me yet. He doesn't know that there would never be a day where a Busch Light happens to trickle into my fingers.
No, but Budweiser has.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was because of a bet. It was all in the name of the sport. Speaking of name of the sport, here's Elias Flores in the 99 out in the Ascent Toyota Camry. That is a nice logo on the side of that. That almost reminds me. Oh, that's Ascendant. Never mind. That's a completely different thing. For those in the firefighting world, that would be Ascendant, and it's made by Pierce. This is Ascent. Elias Flores out of Oakland, California, the 21-year-old, is in his 3rd season here in the HTL Series. He finished 25th in points last season. And his most recent win was August 19th at the 2024 Daytona Road Course. So maybe if he can put a couple of... Whoa, easy there, fella. That was a little bit much there. That might screw up the second lap, Alan.
You got to be careful and hold that steady line. You don't want to make any sudden moves on that steering wheel.
Since we're pretty deep here into our qualifying run, let's take a look at those standings here. And of course, that's when everything wants to go sideways. Why not? Of course, that may be because of the way that we're qualifying. Let's see what happens. Nope, there it goes. Dale Markowski going to sit on top of the pile for now. Tucker Sawyer and Kevin Gibney going to be on 2 and 3. John Hagan looks like he's going to be on the outside of row number 2. We see Elias Flores. He just went 8th fastest. And so far, Jonathan Adams sitting back in 14th. Nate Blankenship just wrapped up an 11th, a P11 qualifying effort. It's almost a Dale Jr. throwback scheme, but it's Harbor Freight. And you know how I feel about Harbor Freight.
I like Harbor Freight.
I love it. Give me my free flashlight, tape measure, a couple of pens, maybe a box cutter. Really what they're doing at Harbor Freight is just giving you an excuse to hijack an airplane. Have a free box cutter. Don't tell them you got it from us. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight here on Sim Racing Media over on the YouTube side. Let us know in the live chat who you're pulling for, what you're watching. As Zach Meredith is now out here. There it is. This is going to be my favorite paint scheme tonight. The Thomas and Friends Ford Mustang. And speaking of which, I do want to point out that unfortunately, the original creator of the television series for Thomas and Friends, Britt Allcroft, just passed away a couple of days ago. Not that anybody knew that.
Well, one thing we do know is the 26-year-old Tampa Bay, Florida native will time in 12th quickest with a 49.42 at 181 miles an hour.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of this paint scheme. Of course, that's because I'm a large child. I'm a child.
At least we're in touch with our inner child, right?
Oddly enough, driving the 17 also has a little bit of a tie to the Chicago Fire Department. Not sure if Zachary Meredith does, but Engine 17, of course, from the movie Backdraft. But I'm guessing Bury St. Edmunds not a Chicago guy. And judging by the Bills logo on the side of the helmet there, I'm guessing Toronto. Perhaps he's an Argonauts fan. Here's Steven Oberstadt on his second lap.
34-year-old driver out of Sandy Hook, Connecticut. This is his second season in HTL Cup Series. He did not race last season, and his best finish came on September 5th, 2022 at Talladega with an 11th place effort. And Dave, this is his first attempt at a Daytona 500.
Well, good luck to him. It's a tough way to get around this place. Now, me personally, I never had problems with the super speedways. In fact, I gobbled these things up like crazy. I loved it. But, for some folks, super speedways are very nerve-wracking. And for me, it was always a matter of hold on tight. Bailey Thompson here qualified 9th in the WeatherTech number 27 Ford Mustang. Lined up on pit road right now, we see a couple different drivers down here. There's the 62 of Dave Smeal, Ryan Pinnell in the 1 machine, and the Team Conti Double G Ford Mustang moves just a little bit further forward here as the 54 nuzzles up behind.
Yeah, here's the thing about Team Conti Sim Sports. Team Conti does a lot of great things for everybody in iRacing, also being a partner here at the HTL Cup Series. I want to thank Team Conti for coming on board and being a partner for the HTL Cup Series this season.
Now I'm going to say this here at the outset so that nobody gets upset, because I feel like this is like a form of housekeeping, if you will. We see here the number 21 by Alfred Denny. Okay, Alfred Denny out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So hopefully we'll see a Miller Lite paint scheme on there eventually. But has a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup Ford Mustang. I say Reese's. The man who invented the peanut butter cup, his name was H.B. Reese. I'm just letting all of you know now. That's the Reese's. I don't want to hear Reese's. It's not a thing unless you just can't pronounce the word. It's Reese's. H.B. Reese was fired from the Hershey. Company. Decided to go out and make candy of his own. And it was so good that Hershey bought the candy from him, and then eventually the license. The only deal that H.B. Reese ever made with Hershey after that was to take care of his family. John is saying we have to turn up the mic. I can't get this thing any louder without pegging it. Let's see what happens if I do this. John, how does that sound if you can hear me?
I think he's talking about me.
And now, of course, I need to back mine down off of kill.
I think you gotta put mine on kill.
Anyway, Alfred Denny here in the 21. Now that drew our attention away, Ryan Pinnell in the one machine comes out on track in his Ford Dark Horse Mustang. Obviously getting himself warmed up, staying more so on that seam down the middle of the backstretch. We see a lot more people try to hang up along toward the wall, but it looks like Pinnell coming out is going to try to use a little bit less of the racetrack than some of the other drivers have. As he comes into the tri-oval, here he comes across the start-finish line. And he goes 7th fastest on that opening lap. Tyler Ratliff here in the 23. I'm betting that this is accidentally painted the 54. Don't adjust your sets, folks. He is the 20. He's being scored as the 23, but has the 54 painted on the side of it. Note the yellow bumpers. That's a rookie mistake. Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Look, I love the YouTube.com live chat, and because if we're wrong, they will correct us, and if we're, have issues, they'll let us know.
Hey, it's helpful.
It's like the check engine light in your car.
You know what's irritating about that, though? You
Most people ignore it?
No, you get the check engine light on, and then you go to AutoZone and you say, "Hey, what's the check engine light for?" And they say, "We don't know, but we can tell you that it's a code." Right, but can you tell me what the code is? And they want to play 50 questions. Just tell me what's wrong so I can fix it.
On track right now, the number 23 car, Tyler Ratliff, goes third quickest with a 49.36 at 180 miles an hour, 181. We shift gears and go to Dave Schmiel Jr. in the 62 car.
You got it. John Hagan, driver the number 97, sitting on pit road, wants to be interviewed, and here he is. Hey, John, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me.
Hey, how are you two beautiful people doing?
Fantastic.
I just wanted to say hi.
Well, you know what? Hi. Welcome to the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. This is going to be your home for all your action on a Monday night this season. And listen, man, great qualifying run. You finished top 5 here. You got bumped back a little bit by Ratliff, who just took you from 4 to 5. What's going to be the strategy tonight and then, of course, next week in the 500?
I'm not going to lie to you. My headset just disconnected, so I didn't hear what you said. But I heard you say that I finished top 5 in qualifying right now, and the car felt good. We got caught out by track temp just a touch. So I'm looking forward to the race. I think we got a really good race set.
Yeah, now, as far the other part of my question was, what's going to be your strategy tonight in the duels and then, of course, next week in the 500? Are you more of a, let's try to stay up near the front, or are you drop back and stay out of trouble until toward the end?
If you don't see me at the front, I'm playing strategy. Other than that, I will always be at the front. I don't like sitting in the middle or the back, especially when the race is going on. Control the lanes, control your pace, control your destiny. It's better to be up front when the wreck happens in the back, and of course it happens in the first row, and then you really can't do nothing. But, I mean, I don't know. I've never been a fan of sitting back and then introducing yourself at the end of the race. You got to let people know that you're here and you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with you. I feel like some of the people that, you hang back for so long, sometimes you almost kind of pigeonhole yourself back there, and then you don't have enough time, no matter how many laps are left, to try to get through some of that traffic and deal with some of the BS between being in the back and getting up to the front.
But yeah, no, hopefully I put myself in a good position through this duel. I wish my qualifying would have went just a touch better, but it's all good. I got one of my, well, no, I guess he got bumped to second, so I don't know. My guys are doing all right, so we'll go get them.
All right, man. Well, listen, congrats on the qualifying effort here. Good luck tonight, and of course, good luck next week in the 500.
Thank you.
Well, folks, that's the voice of John Hagan, driver. Whoop, where'd he go? Driver the number 97. He asked, he received. He said we should interview him, shaking his head. So we appreciate him checking in. Most of the field qualified through here, Alan, and Ross Baxter up next as he's got the 38 cranked up and ready to rock and roll here coming out of turn 4 and onto the front stretch.
While we're interviewing the driver for the number 97 car, John Hagan, David Schmiel Jr. went top of the board, quick time with a 49.32.
Woof, that's fast. Ross Baxter, a rookie here this season in the Carolina Beagle Racing stable in his Chevy Camaro. Out of Louisville, North Carolina, the 38-year-old is making his first start here in the HTL Cup Series, and in his first start on that opening lap, he goes P3. That'll do it for him. Looks like he wants to try this again. Interestingly enough, he's in the Carolina Beagle Racing stable. He's from Louisville, North Carolina, but he's got the West Virginia Mountaineers on the front of this machine. I don't know how the Mountaineers feel about that, or how he would feel about that. I hope he's got some kind of a tie to University of West Virginia.
I can appreciate that.
Zachary Apperson here in the 4 machine out of Kinston, North Carolina, getting himself ready to rock and roll.
He's out of Montclair, Virginia, 21-year-old with, well, it's the 6th season in the HTL Cup Series, 23rd in points last season. His best finish came at Talladega.
Taking a look now here at the Bojangles number 25, driven by our fantastic admin, Blake Henderson, out of Atlanta, Georgia, the 3-time HTL Cup Series winner. Gee, that's quite a resume, if I do say so myself. The 22-year-old out of Atlanta, Georgia, has 3 playoff appearances, 3 Cup Series wins. He finished 6th in this is his 6th season in HTL, and he finished 12th in points last season. And he's got Bojangles on the car. I love me some Bojangles.
We don't have that in St. Louis.
We have one not too far from here. It's not really convenient. There is one up the road from my mom's house, but that's really inconvenient from here.
There is the Kinston, North Carolina native, Zach Apperson. And that number 4 car, making his way down the long super stretch. That is the Daytona backstretch. And he's already on that yellow line. It doesn't take long for these cars to get it down there. It's not like the cars of yesteryears where it takes a lap or so to get up to speed.
Apperson coming off the track. He goes 15th fastest in his qualifying effort. Now we're going to Shad Swatsworth out of Clearfield, Pennsylvania. One of my fellow Pennsylvanians. Now, I haven't seen the 12 machine yet, that Mark Kissenweather. Waiting to see. I don't even see Mark Kissenweather in the Discord.
You know, as we're watching the 18 car, Dave, I'm one of those guys when they get out qualify. I am one of those guys that will get on the yellow line almost immediately and make that track length way shorter than they normally would, as if you're going to start your first lap on the outside near the wall.
Well, that opening lap, you want to be out there against the wall as best you can. In fact, let's go on board here for just a hot second if we can. You want to be able to get out toward the wall. That builds a heck of a lot of speed in the car. And then when you come out of 4, what I usually do and what Shad's not doing, I'd come out of 4 and be up against the wall until right about here. And once I could make a straight line for the start-finish line, that's when I would be up against the yellow line. I'd come right around here, wrap that corner in the tri-oval, and then hug that line like my life depends on it. You stay against this yellow line the entire time as we go on the bumper cam. And there's still plenty of room for Shad to have gotten down there. Chooses not to. And there is a little bit of speed. If you come up about a quarter to a half of a lane off the yellow line when you come out of turn 2, you can steal a little bit of speed just with that little bit of extra momentum coming out of 2. But we can see here that Swatsworth coming out of 4 may not need that. He's got a pretty quick lap going so far. He's going to hold that yellow line. And he goes 30th on the timing line. Kate Sweat, driver of the number 37 Allegiant Air Chevrolet Camaro, comes out to make her qualifying run. Sweat's a rookie out of Canaan, New Hampshire, 36 years old, with 1 HTL start, and this is going to be her second Daytona 500 attempt. Last year she finished in her last Daytona 500 attempt, she finished 31st. Of course, Allegiant Air on this Chevrolet Camaro. You flown Allegiant yet, Alan?
I have not.
Allegiant flies out of Allentown Airport, the Lehigh Valley International Airport here, and it's how my dad gets back and forth to Florida to see his women folk.
They fly out of Belleville, Illinois. But right now, Kate Sweat is flying those Allegiant colors around the turn 3-4 complex and down to the front straightaway to complete lap number 1. Let's see how she does on her first lap through the tri-oval. And the survey says 30th.
Well, we'll have to see where she finishes in the standings.
Now she is locked in, so that's a good thing.
That's a good start. Taking a look here at the 20 car, Hunter Peach out of the NFG Motorsports stable from Abilene, Texas. You ever been to Abilene? Yeah, it's a great town. Great town.
I've only been to Houston.
He's got
Victoria.
He's got 1 HTL Cup Series win, 1 playoff appearance, and this is his 4th season in HTL. He finished 6th in points last season, and his most recent win was back on June 17th of last year at Atlanta. And last year he finished this is his 3rd Daytona 500 attempt, and before he has finished 19th and 14th. So maybe if you look at the pattern there, he increased by 5 between 19 and 14. So maybe this time he's going to finish 9th.
Well, right now he's 17th on the board with a 49.41. Working on his second lap as he comes down out of turns 1 and 2 and down that super stretch. Right now, a handful of drivers trying to beat Dave Schmiel Jr.'s 49.32. That's the time you got to beat to get on the pole.
Yeah, I don't see a whole lot of. I mean, you know, the 30s fall off in and around 13th position, but the low 30s are literally just Smil and Markowski.
Yeah, I almost feel like you're at a disadvantage to go out later in the qualifying order than you are in the earlier.
Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. We want to thank everybody for tuning in this evening, for making us a part of your evening, welcoming us into your homes, onto your phones, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. Of course, here we are on our first night here in the HTL Cup Series. I see a lot of good times right now, Alan. Me personally, I can't wait to see what happens when the green flag drops in these duels. Why don't you explain to the fans again what's going on with the duels and how this is going to work tonight?
Absolutely. As the top two open qualifiers will lock themselves into the show. For the last two spots, the top open finisher from each duel will also make the 500. That means they're sending 2 cars home.
I don't have a garage. They can't come here. You got to go. You can't stay here, but you can't go anywhere else. Waiting for Mark Kissenweather out of Hazelden, Pennsylvania to come off the starting grid here. Me personally, this just became my favorite driver of the year just because he's from Hazelton. You ever been to Hazelton, Alan?
No, but I've been to Hazelwood.
Nope, not the same.
Hazelwood, Missouri.
Of course, I can't see what he's got. Coulter's. I don't know what this is. Can't read it. Can't read it. Well, regardless, the young man out of Hazelden, Pennsylvania. Here we go. Coulter's cards. Got it. I don't know if that's. I don't remember that being local to Hazelden. It must be online. We'll have to check that out. Hazelden is an interesting town here in Pennsylvania. Also the home of World Series champion manager Joe Madden.
The mad scientist.
He's nuts. He's out of the Militia Racing Club, and he is making his very first start as the 26-year-old. And, of course, for those of you that tune in with us on a Sunday night or a Monday night during the regular NASCAR season, you all know John Wilco out of McAdoo, Pennsylvania. So he and Mark Kissenweather could almost be neighbors. McAdoo and Hazelton, just a couple of miles. It's literally a 10-minute drive. They might even be cousins. You never know. Everybody's kind of related up there. So Mark Kissenweather representing the 570 area code here. That's what he's going to be this season, Mr. 570, as he comes down the backstretch.
Already giving drivers nicknames. I love it.
Well, this one's not hard. He's from Hazelton, and he's got baseball, so he's already in the club for me.
I bet he's a Phillies fan.
Actually, a lot of the folks up there in Hazelton tend to be Mets or Yankees fans. They're just close enough. Holy Christmas! Kissenweather just goes 5th fastest.
That's the second lap too.
He's fine. Think he made it in.
Well, he's locked in regardless. He's a chartered driver.
Good gravy.
Caitlin Height working on her first lap right now in that number 3 car.
Caitlin Height making this first start here in the NordVPN number 3 Chevrolet Camaro. Running with Lady Liberty Motorsports this season out of Boston, Massachusetts. The 30-year-old has 13 career HTL Cup Series wins. She is the all-time leader. She has 3 playoff appearances, and this is her 4th season. She finished 2nd in points last season, and her most recent win was September 30th at Chicagoland. This will be her second Daytona 500 attempt, and she finished 5th and 34th, and she's a two-time championship driver. So, good Lord. The young lady has quite the resume here. Qualifies 28th.
And I bet she's a Celtics fan.
I think that's what you're born that way in Boston.
Well, right now, she's 28th on the board with a 49.43, and it looks like she's going to stand on that time. Dean Clevitt will be our final qualifier of the night.
We're going to quick see if we can get a hold of driver the 21, Alfred Denny, out of Milwaukee. Or as Alice Cooper called it, Milwaukee. Hey, Alfred, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Buddy, listen, first off, I already had to put away a little bit of controversy tonight. It's the Reese's machine, not Reese's. But you got yourself a pretty good qualifying position here, 18, kind of right in the eye of the storm. What's going to be the strategy tonight coming from the middle of the pack?
Just keep it clean and try to, survive towards the end, and then make a move in the last 5 laps or so if it's there.
Yeah, one of the hardest things to do in a place like this is to try to have the patience to hang on. I mean, it's next week's going to be a long race, 125 laps. Each of the duels tonight going to be 40 laps, so not as long. But, one of the hardest things to do is keep your patience, keep your cool. What do you do to try to, self-talk, from running people over and using this thing as a weapon?
Just pretend you're driving to work, because it's bumper-to-bumper traffic, so, we have experience every morning with that. And just, give space, and, if you don't have a car at the end, you can't make a move to try to win the race. So you just got to just be patient and know that who the aggressive drivers are and give them a little extra space and hope for the best. It takes a little bit of luck here, too.
That's great perspective. I never even thought about it as being, rush hour on the way to work. I always talk about it looks like rush hour from up here in the broadcast booth, but the patience factor is a really interesting perspective. So thank you for that. Listen, man, good luck tonight. And, of course, good luck in the duels. And next week at the 500, I'm sure that we're going to see a lot of the brown and orange here on the racetrack.
We're hoping. Hopefully not for reasons for a spectacular crash or something down that road.
No, we don't want to see that at all. Trust me. We want lots of green flag racing. But listen, man, good luck, my friend, and we will catch you on the flip side.
Thank you. Have a good one.
That the voice of Alfred Denny and driving the number 21. And Alan, I believe that does wrap up qualifying.
Yep, and tonight the winner of the poll is going to be David Schmiel Jr. with a 49.32. He's our poll winner.
David Schmiel Jr. going to be our poll winner tonight, as he's going to have the overshot poll. So good for David Schmiel. We appreciate Overshot, of course, for being a sponsor here in the HTL Cup Series. Of course, the other pole, if I understand correctly, Alan, in the other race is going to be Dale Markowski.
Correct. So Dale Markowski will get the pole in duel number 2. David Schmiel Jr. will bring them to the green on the first duel, and he'll bring us to green on the Daytona 500 also.
David Schmiel Jr. also representing Pennsylvania from Madera, Pennsylvania. Glad to have him here. Not that I'm biased or anything.
I feel like Pennsylvania is well represented.
Pennsylvania is well represented in several leagues here on iRacing, and I can't explain that. But, folks, we're going to step aside here and pay some bills and get everything settled up for the start of duel number 1. I'm Dave Riegel, and he's Alan Bergen. This is Sim Racing Media. We can't wait to see you. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. And we'll be back in a few minutes.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh my
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes
They're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh my
and to the
goodness!
line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Apromitis is ahead. Or it's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
lights are out, you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life is lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me.
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway, where the HTL Cup Series Duel number 1 is about to go green flag racing. David Smeal Jr. going to be sitting on the pole for this one as we pull up our starting grid. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. David Smeal going to be on the outside of, or on the inside of row number 1. He's going to be joined on row 1 by Patrick Oberstadt from New England. Mark Kissenweather and Tyler Ratliff going to be in row number 2, while row 3 is going to feature Eli Sasak and Seth Wansing. Ryan Pinnell and Dean Clavitt going to be in row number 4, while row 5 is going to feature Joshua Gaiman and Bailey Thompson. Hunter Peach and Nate Blankenship are going to be in 11th and 12th, starting in row number 6, while row 7 is going to feature Stephen Oberstadt and Blake Henderson. Caitlin Height going to be in row number 8 alongside of Kyle Taub, with David Wright and Mark Parkhurst in row number 9. And rounding out the rest of the field, your starting top 20 going to be Kate Sweat out of New England and Shad Swatsworth going to start shotgun on the field in the number 18. 20 cars ready to take the green flag. The iRacing.com pace car lights are out. Alan, we've finally gotten here after all of the single car qualifying. Now here it is, ready for these drivers to take the green flag. 70 degrees, the outdoor ambient air temperature in the stands, 71 on the asphalt. Are you ready for this first duel, Alan?
I am so ready here. We're going to duel it out. Who's going to be putting it on the hauler, and who's going to be racing on next Monday night when they go 100 laps, 200 miles.
Drivers getting themselves all good to go, getting those gloves strapped up, the hands way up high on those wheels. It's going to be a long and fast 40 laps here. Once we get up to speed, drivers going to be exceeding 200 miles per hour into the turns. Want to thank our race sponsors, Henderson Graphics, and of course Team Conti. You folks know Team Conti, of course, from the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series right here on Sim Racing Media. We want to thank everybody for joining in here on the maiden voyage with Sim Racing Media and HTL Cup Series action. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you here. The iRacing.com pace car coming out of turn number 4 and getting ready to peel it on down pit road. And Alan, you know how we do it here on Sim Racing Media. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are. The iRacing.com pace car peels on down pit road. The only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grab your popcorn, your honey buns, and settle in. Race fans, it's showtime!
A lot of great shots, and now that outside line starting to take control of this race as Dave Smeal Jr. going to drop back to around that 5th place area right now, and that inside line just needs a few more cars in to make things happen.
Patrick Oberstadt takes over the lead. He's got Tyler Ratliff just behind him in the 54. Got those numbers figured out, and here's Ratliff pushing from behind as we come into turn 3 and 4. Lap number 1 about to be in the books. Patrick Oberstadt brings us out of turn 4, back into the tri-oval through the Geico restart zone, and he's going to get credit for lap number 1.
Oberstadt leading that top line, and right now, you know, that the inside line just has nowhere to go in the 27 car. That's Thompson there. He's starting to get some momentum. And it's going to be a battle of 2 different lines, 2 different races. But the one strategy that these guys all have, and that's get to the front and don't put it on the hauler before you get a chance to go racing.
Side by side goes the 26 and the 81. That's Dean Clavitt and Nate Blankenship. They're in line just behind Bailey Thompson and Seth Wansing. As we take a look here at the 27 of Thompson, we see the 27 getting a good shove here to the 60 of Patrick Oberstadt, but the 54 of Tyler Ratliff slides into the lead. Fast lap so far here tonight was Nate Blankenship, 46.02 seconds, beating out Bailey Thompson by 1/100th of a second for fast lap tonight. as we get underway here tonight at Daytona International Speedway. You're watching Sim Racing Media, and this is the HTL Cup Series, Duel number 1. Tyler Ratliff, your race leader. Ratliff coming out of turn 4, bringing Seth Wansing along for the ride. Nate Blankenship running back in 8th position now alongside of Blake Henderson. Blake and Nate, that's going to be a good one for me to trip over tonight, Alan.
Blake Henderson buying his time, not getting too crazy. And I'll say it again, I watched the transfer spots. I love heat racing. I love dueling. This is what gets me amped up for Speed Weeks. It's the Daytona duels, the qualifying, the pomp and the circumstances, and here we are, just racing it out as it's 81 car has got it going pretty good. 81 car on the bottom line there.
I'm watching Patrick Oberstadt here in the number 60 Kroger machine. And so far, Oberstadt doing a pretty good job pushing the 81 of Dean Clavitt down through the front stretch. And look to the outside. There's Tyler Ratliff. Ratliff here in the 54 Monster machine. The Ty Gibbs look-alike comes through turn 1 on the high side. Plenty of steam up there. These drivers haven't given each other any single file options so far. We look here to Blake Henderson in the 25. And as we look from high above, we can see he's kind of in a good spot. He's got plenty of room in front and behind him. That way, if he wants to back up and get a push here from the 16, which is Kyle Taub just behind him, the 16 can do that. At the same time, he can still draft his way up and give a nice little love tap to Eli Sasak, who's here in the 9 machine out of Grand Rapids, Missouri. Grand Rapids. I guess when I'm with Alan, I suddenly think about nothing but the Midwest.
Well, as you think about nothing about the Midwest, Seth Wansing out of Peculiar, Missouri, he has fallen back, and so is that outside line, as the inside line is now the dominant line. And we're going to see that multiple times all night long. And there's a number 3 car of Kalen Height.
There's something to be said about this paint scheme, my friend. Caitlin Height in the number 3 OnlyFans Chevrolet. I don't know where to go with that one. I'm going to leave that one alone. Love it.
I mean, look, sponsorship's hard to get. Sponsorship's hard to get in NASCAR. So good for Caitlin thinking outside the box.
Well, I mean, Callie Kills in the YouTube.com live chat said, love the paint on that number 3. Appreciate you, Callie Kills, bringing that to our attention. That's going to be one of our favorite paint schemes of the season because I am a 12-year-old boy. Quite frankly, I'm a 12-year-old that makes grown-up money. And certain words and things draw my attention, make me giggle. 45.4 seconds for Steven Oberstadt. Best lap of the race, and now 45.08 for Shad Swatsworth. Alan, don't look now, but they're getting faster.
I'm rooting on Caitlin Height right now. I want to see her do really good right down the stool. I want to see her put it in the show, and right now, she's making moves.
You can do all that you want there, but take a look at this. There it is. David Wright just sliced through the field. Now we see here on the gyro cam, he's going to slide in right behind Caitlin Height in the 3. And now they're starting to get themselves single file. But David Wright at the moment doing a great job from Burlington, North Carolina. Keeping himself nice and calm, nice and steady here. Nobody to the outside, everybody going single file. It's an interesting move. I mean, after so long of going double file, suddenly literally the entire field goes single file. And of course, as I say that, the 8 car steps out of line. Steven Oberstadt thought that maybe he'd try something. Oh! Contact! That's going to bring out the first caution of the night. That's Mark Kissenweather and the 54 of Tyler Ratliff.
That is not how you want to start your duel.
No, sir. let's see if we can figure out what happened there. Here we go on board with Ratliff. Something had, there's the 12. Oh, the 12 got out of line.
I don't think that the 12 thought the 54 was going to be there.
No, you know what, that might have been one of those situations where, you know, spotter said, hey, you're clear, and no, they weren't. Take another look here at the SRM replay. And can't really figure out what happened there. It's definitely not a helpful camera angle, that's for sure. Maybe this is where we're going to have to look. Here we go. This will be better. Yeah, the 54 peaked up, and maybe that disturbance of air was just enough to bring things to an uncomfortable end there. But that's going to trigger wholesale pit stops now. Everybody going to come on down and get pit service.
Gas and go.
Yeah, tires not as much of a factor here at Daytona as at many of our other tracks.
Well, Dean Clem is going to lead everybody off pit road. He's going to win the race off pit road, and Patrick Oberstadt will line up to his outside. Caitlin Height, up 12 positions, is going to be restarting in that third position.
Yeah, when we go back green flag racing, it's going to be Dean Clavitt, Patrick Oberstock, Caitlin Height, Kyle Taub, David Wright, your top five with Bailey Thompson, Seth Wansing, Kate Sweat, David Smeal, and Eli Sasak. Going to round out your top 10 as we look further back here. There, of course, is the 37 of Kate Sweat. Dave Smeal here in the 62 machine. Says, I want to go fast.
He's already on the pole. Might as well take care of his equipment. Treat this duel as a test session. I mean, he's not going to get any better than he already is, so.
No, that's the truth. 11 laps in the book so far.
And, I mean, this is a great opportunity for David Schmiel to figure out who he can work with, who his friends are going to be, and just kind of ride around, deal out his race car, figure out, learn what he can tweak, what he can't for next Monday night, and, essentially just build a notebook in these 40 laps.
Dean Clavitt coming down pit road. Patrick Oberstadt, he's going to remain up here, so that's going to cycle him up to the lead. Let's see if we can find him. And of course not. Oh, wait. Nope, that's Steve Oberstadt. There he is, Patrick. Hey, Patrick, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Hey, buddy, listen, you're going to be restarting up here on the front row alongside Caitlin. What's going to be the strategy here? We're going to try to keep it up front, or you think maybe slide to the back and ride around for a little while?
I think I'm going to try to keep it up front, but keyword try. But try to save a little bit of fuel because it's still a little tight, even though we just pit. But, yeah, just try to keep it up here, keep the wheels on it.
All right, brother. Well, listen, good luck the rest of the way. It looks like you're going to be getting ready to go back green flag racing in just a moment. So good luck, and go with God. Don't take any wooden nickels.
Thank you.
All righty. That, of course, the voice of Patrick Oberstadt. We're going to get him back on down here into Carolina Beagle Racing Stable. It's going to be Oberstadt, Height, Taub, Wright, Thompson, Wansing, Sasak, Sweat, Gaiman, Pinnell, those are going to be your top 10 now that we've had a little bit of a shuffle here. Some late fuel splash and go situations. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Smeal knows something we don't.
Be behind a car, make the car in front of you the fuel pig, and just ride around, learn what you can for next Monday night. As the iRacing.com pace car comes off of turn number 4, we're going to get ready to go restart in here and back to racing here at lap number 12. It'll be 13 when they cross the line as the lights are out on the speedway and on the iRacing.com pace car. It's going to be overstop height, your front row, as we get ready to go to the Geico restart zone. Overstop on the button, and we are green, 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 back to racing here in Daytona.
Green flag in the air. Patrick Oberstad brings us down the front row. And off we go here on lap number 13 of 40, approaching the halfway point. So making some great times so far. We see a great draft going on right now. Kyle Taub pushing around Patrick Oberstad here in the 60. The 27 of Bailey Thompson now coming in from behind. He's got a nice little gap here right between the 27 and the 16. You can see the front nose there now getting just barely drawn up to it, but he's keeping himself cool, and it also allows the door to stay open so that if he decides to swing out, he's got the time to go up there if he gets a drafting partner and a good shove from behind in the 9. But for right now, the time being, Patrick Oberstad's going to be your race leader. The 9 is going to remain in 4th position. That's Eli Sasak in the Ascent Toyota Camry. But don't look now. Here comes Josh Gaiman in the 33 W Energy Chevrolet Camaro. I'll tell you what, that W's not bad.
That outside line's gaining momentum. Who's going to take the bait and who's going to go up top?
You know me, I'm always up there trying to, fight around, flail a little bit here as we take a look at the 42 Sherwin-Williams Cover the Earth number 42 Chevrolet Camaro. He's now being pushed around by Joshua Gaiman.
Well, I tell you what, that outside line starting to gain some more traction as we got some incredible camera angles here tonight. Watching these 800 horsepower machines, and I tell you what, there we go. We got some 3-wide action going on.
3 wides. All of a sudden, the 16 of Kyle Taub is the meat. That's not where you want to be. Let's go high and above 2 rows. There it is, the 9, the 16, and the 18. That's Shad Swatsworth on the bottom. Watch the 42. That's David Wright, the meat and the sandwich here with Ryan Pinnell down here on the bottom. 2 rows of 3, and Caitlin Height is just kind of hanging out back. She suddenly gets forced 3 wide because, of course, the 16 and the 42 decided to pull the parachute cord. They're suddenly going to flip back. That's going to allow Ryan Pinnell now to take over 4th position.
25 left to go. The 42 car is going to drop in on that inside line. Oberstad, Thompson trying to get away to see if they can get a breakaway going. And Dave, that outside line's not really gaining on that inside line too much as these guys are jockeying for position. It is go time. You have to go.
Yeah, this is one of those times when, we're going to start to see what separates the elite drivers from the good drivers. I don't want to say anybody is a trash driver, especially in this league. I see a lot of great driving going on, but this is what's going to separate, the elite from the good.
Oh, we got a caution. We're going to
have a caution here. And I think it involves the 12 of Mark Kissenweather again. Hunter Peach is back here. He's involved, and the 26. Let's see what happened, maybe from Kissenweather's perspective here.
Blankenship's going to need some Harbor Freight tools to get that car fixed.
Yeah, he's going to need more than a dent puller. Here we are.
Ooh.
Woof.
He's going to need a chiropractor as well.
Good gravy. Let's see if we can just get a little bit of a better shot at that. just all kinds of bumping and banging, really disturbed air. And to me, that's something that I want to make sure to point out, that there's a lot of disturbed air back here. It's really turbulent, and it's a lot for most of these drivers just to keep their hands on the car.
Yeah, I mean, these cars, to your point, I mean, you get back there to pack, and these cars are all over the place. You see these cars weaving and bobbing and weaving. They're not doing that on purpose. They're doing it because that's how turbulent the air is.
Yeah, they're certainly not doing it for their health.
Well, if they were doing that, it'd be down 150 pounds.
That's fair. Back here live with 23 laps to go, Shad Swatsworth going to be your race leader. Everybody came down on lap number 10. I don't see any takers so far. Looks like they're going to stay out. They think maybe they can make it the rest of the way. The 27 comes down. The 27 and the 33 commit. That's Bailey Thompson and Joshua Gaiman. So maybe they know something we don't. Or they're trying to come in, maybe almost treat this like a stage race and flip the stage.
I'll take that bet. I'll take the over. I think about half the field comes in, the other half doesn't. And 22 short laps away from here, we're going to be bringing duel number 2 live here on Sim Racing Media, where the other half of the 40-car field will race it out in there in duel number 2. So stay with us here as we bring you all the action live here on Sim Racing Media. And if this is a precursor to what's to come here on duel night, I cannot wait till duel number 2 takes the green flag.
And while all of you sit there and wonder about duel number 2 with 22 laps to go, we're going to step aside and base some quick bills here on Sim Racing Media. I'm Dave Riegel, he's Alan Bergen, and this is the HTL Cup Series live on Sim Racing Media.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic, real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. Dave Riegel and Alan Bergen with you here, bringing you all the action from the HTL Cup Series live on Sim Racing Media. After the second caution for cause of the evening, we're getting set with what will be 20 laps to go. Shad Swatsworth going to be your race leader. Patrick Oberstadt runs P2. Eli Sasak, Ryan Pinnell, and Seth Wansing make up your top 5, while Mark Parkhurst, Stephen Oberstadt, Kyle Traub, Bailey Thompson, and Joshua Gaiman make up the top 10, but all eyes are going to be on Shad Swatsworth. Everybody watching him, because when he comes into the Geico restart zone, it's going to be on his go that the rest of the field is able to start jumping. Pace car brings us. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. You're good.
Pace car comes out of turn number 4. And as we come onto the front stretch, the pace car is going to peel away, and that's going to leave nothing but asphalt in front of Shad Swatsworth as he comes into the Geico restart zone, drops the loud pedal, and off we go. 20 laps left here at Daytona International Speedway.
Shad Swatsworth takes the field down to turn number 1. Here comes Sasak right behind him in that number 9 car. Engine number 9. Here we go. 20 laps left here in duel number 1. Oberstadt trying to get something going on that outside line. Down the back straightaway 2x2, doing it John Force style. They are about as even can get. Swansea is the 3rd car in line, and he's in that 4th position. Who gives the position number? Give Swanson position number 3 out of Peculiar, Missouri. And here comes that number 8 car, not wasting any time. As these guys come roaring down that front straightaway. Oberstadt trying to make something happen on the outside. He is currently running 6th position. Blotsworth continues to lead this piece. Caitlin Height back there trying to make something happen in 5th position.
Swansworth kind of broke away from a little three-car pack in the 18, the 9, and the 5. And the 5 now starting to attract the air off of Mark Parkhurst. As Parkhurst in the 77 was starting to draft up behind the 5, took that momentum and swung to the outside. That's going to set things up for Caitlin Height to come right up from behind and link up as she's got Patrick Oberstadt pushing her from behind in the Kroger machine. Shad Swatsworth right now, though, here in the 18, he leads the way. Of course, yes. Swatsworth, you all know, who, for those of you who were tuned in last season, at the Militia Racing Club from Indiana, Pennsylvania, another Pennsylvanian, this one representing Central West PA, has 3 HTL Cup Series wins, 4 playoff appearances in 5 seasons in the HTL. 10th in points last season. He last won May 1st, 2023 at Talladega. This is going to be his 5th Daytona 500 attempt. He's finished 19th, 11th, 14th, and 24th. And he is one of the 3-time championship 4 members. So
Swanson jumps out to the outside line from the inside line and gives Swanson the 3rd position as Parkhurst gets right behind him. Now Swanson's going to lead that brigade there on the outside.
Seth Wansing leads the way, but things suddenly heating up with 16 laps to go. It's a little early for anybody to be making that committing move, but Ryan Pinnell here in the 1 machine has that Dark Horse Mustang cranked up to crazy. He's got it up into 6th position. He's up 1 from where he had started, but your big movers of the race are all running 2, 3, and 4. Caitlin Height, Mark Parkhurst, and Shad Swatsworth, 2, 3, and 4 they run. They're up a combined 43 spots.
Well, right now, Wansing is the only fan that Caitlin Height's got right now. And Caitlin Height is trying to get that number 3 car up to the lead and possibly be in position, put herself in position to maybe take the checkered flag.
Well, the thing is, what you don't want to do, and what you know that I've said, hundreds of times here on the air, is you don't want to be the one that leaves your drafting partner alone on the high side. So, right now, Height is here pushing along the 5. He's going to be a good drafting partner as she gives him a little love tap. There it is. A bump, bump, bump. Oh, that was perfect. Oh, my God, was that a perfect bump draft. Oh, jeez. I'll tell you
Couldn't
this
have done it any better.
After watching that, I may need a cigarette in the dark. As side by side go the 5 and the 77. The double natural works to the low side. Seth Wansing now holds on to the lead up in his Toyota Camry. But the 77 and the 5 going to lead the way here side by side. They can almost see the whites in each other's eyes.
Oh, almost. This is so nerve-wracking. And right now, that number 18 just drafting so perfectly. There it is once again. Oh, there's that bump. And that driver knows, Parkhurst knows that it's coming. And the trick is not to be bump drafting into the corners. Right now, the inside line is all but single filed out. The 9 bump drafts the 18. The 18 is going to bump draft the number 77, the double natural of Parkhurst.
Shad Swatsworth now sits behind Mark Parkhurst in the 77. They've got the 9 of Eli Sasak. We can see all of a sudden just dropping back like a stone is Caitlin Height. It's almost like they're testing, one another's ability to see how they can get around here together. Maybe that's just, good practice. Something that maybe we don't see enough as we widen things out here. We see the 42 of David Wright being pushed along by the 25 of Blake Henderson. Henderson, the chief cook and bottle washer here in the HTL Cup Series, running just over top of the Harbor Freight machine of Nate Blankenship.
Kiss and Weather gonna win the race to the beer stand in this duel here in duel number 1. Only making it 17 laps before calling it the night and pegging out the fun meter, if you will.
It's a little early in the season to have your fun meter pegged, but at the same time, it's not uncommon, especially in a place like Daytona. This can be a really... Whoa, boy. Watch the 3 back here, falling like a stone. Oh, my. Height gets a bump from the 33. There's a whole lot of 3s. Now, she's got to make a decision. Does she want to try to use that momentum? Yes, she does. She forms her own line here and is going to draft all the way up from way back in 17th and now runs in 13th. Gained 4 spots off of that one bump from the 33 of Josh Gaiman. Josh here in the 33 coming down the backstretch after bumping the 3 of Caitlin Height into a contending position on the high side.
I got a feeling Caitlin Height's going to make her own line, and she's already done it. She's got to make. She wants to get back to the front. I don't think she's going to be content and finishing in the top 5. I think she's going to want to win this one.
Hey, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Coming down the front stretch now is the 42 of David Wright leading the way. Just pulled off one of those old-fashioned Daytona moves, gets shoved up on the high side, jumps down right in front of the 77 of Mark Parkhurst, and leaves the 25 of Blake Henderson on the high side. After all of that working together, he just abandons Henderson. Now going to the high side is Mark Parkhurst. Parkhurst with the lead. He's going to bring along Henderson with just a little bit of a toe. Oh,
buddy.
He's moved out of the way by the 27. That's Bailey Thompson.
That's typically a move you see at Bristol, not at Daytona.
Yeah, he just kind of bumped the 25 right out of his way. It didn't do much good because now as we go on board here with Caitlin Height, we're going to see, and there we go. Caitlin Height so close in there that, basically you can't see anything.
Oh, boy. Some great camera work here tonight from the truck. We got 9 laps to go. Caitlin Height running second right now. She fell all the way back to 17th, and here she is right behind Bailey Thompson running second on the outside line with 9 laps to go, coming to 8 to go.
Here they come into the tri-oval. We start to see a little bit of this form itself now that we've gone single digits, 8 laps to go. Watch Josh Gaiman here in the 33 giving another shove to the 9. That's Eli Sasak. And it almost looks like they're starting to think about who's going to push who and who's going to take which position as the sand begins to fall out of the hourglass ever faster. 8 laps is not a lot of time, in people time. That's about 8 minutes. But in those time, in that little span of time, that 8 minutes, these drivers are going to make collectively tens of thousands of decisions that are going to oh my. The 3 just got loose as a goose, but holds on to it. Now takes a shove from the 9. The 9's going to need help from the 5, if at all possible.
Caitlin going to lose wholesale positions. So far, fell all the way back to that 7th spot. And, she's done winning front to back, and she's going to do it again.
Bailey Thompson leading this piece here in the number 27 Ford Dark Horse Mustang. The WeatherTech machine leading Mark Parkhurst and David Wright running 2 and 3 behind as Bailey Thompson brings the field out of turn number 4 and puts the start-finish line back in their sights with 7 laps to go.
That inside line's got the slide advantage right now. But here comes Overstott in that number 8 car. He's right there in that 3rd position. He's ready to bounce. And so is Caitlin Height back there in the 8th position. Just take it easy. We got 6 laps to go, and the sands of the hourglass are starting to run really, really thin for these guys in those back positions.
Looking a little further back in the field, here's Seth Wansing in the 5 machine. That Busch Light Toyota Camry trying to get hooked up aerodynamically with Patrick Oberstadt. He's going to need a push from the 20 of Hunter Peach. Nobody really know what's to do here. How do you celebrate if it's the opening night and you wreck the car? How do you celebrate? What do you do after you get out of the cockpit and leave the window net lay?
That's like asking what you do with your hands. I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know.
Believe me, I know the feeling. 5 to go. Watch the 18. The 18 of Shad Swatsworth isn't done. He's not backing up. He's reloading.
The outside lines are reloading. Here comes the outside line, led by Wansing out of Peculiar, Missouri. And he's in a peculiar position.
Do I even want to know what the position is?
Well, he's not the outside line. He's got nowhere to go. Not a whole lot of friends.
Taking a look from above, watch Bailey Thompson here in the 27, leading the double natural of Mark Parkhurst as the 77 takes a bump from the 42. Now, the thing is, you've got to be able to back up, get the air off the car behind you, in this case, what would be the 9 of Sasak, and then allow Sasak to bump you. Just like the 20 and the 5 we're about to do.
The 20 and the 5 almost got together. And, just because the car has changed from, the car of yesteryear to Gen 6 to the next gen, doesn't mean that sweet spot has. And that sweet spot is still there when you're bumping into the corners. And we are under caution once again. And that's going to trigger some overtime.
Yeah, 3rd caution of the night. That's going to trigger some NASCAR overtime. Let's take a look and see what happened with Dave Smeal. This can't be good. And here's a good look at it. Oy. Yep, just collecting cars.
Couple cars got yeeted.
A Hornet and a rainstorm. One final time, folks. We're gonna step aside and pay some bills on Sim Racing Media. I'm Dave Regal. He's Alan Bergen, and this is the HTL Cup Series live on Sim Racing Media.
Racing isn't easy.
Masker can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around, we're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Apromitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. You're watching the HTL Cup Series, and we are in NASCAR overtime. Bailey Thompson going to be our race leader when the green flag flies what should be one final time here at the World Center of Racing. What NASCAR overtime means, folks, of course, is that when the green flag flies, we will race around back to the white flag. If the caution flag should come out between the waving of the green flag and the white flag, we will rack them, stack them, and do it all over again. However, if the white flag flies, then we will race back to checkers, and it will be winner take all from that point on. So, folks, get your 5-point harnesses straightened up one more time because, Alan, I think this might be the one.
It's going to be the one and only green-white checkered here. We hope. But, I mean, if this is a precursor to Duel number 2, I cannot wait to strap in and get ready for that one as the lights are out on the iRacing Daytona pace car and out around the Daytona International Speedway as those 800 horsepower machines get ready to go full bore once again for 3 laps. Now, the way this is going to work is we're going to go around, we're going to come to green flag with 2 to go. We're going to race around, and if we take the white flag, whatever happens, happens. If not, we get a caution again, and we're going to re-rack them and restack them. So with that being said, Bailey Thompson and Mark Parkhurst on the front row here for this one. And ladies and gentlemen, you are in for a treat here.
Lights on the iRacing.com pace car light are off. That means we will be going back green flag racing. Thompson, Parkhurst, Sasat, Wright, Wansing, your top 5, Height, Ratliff, Peach, Oberstadt, and Clavitt your top 10. Pace car peels on down pit road. Bailey Thompson takes to the inside, hits the Geico restart zone, drops the hammer, and off we go. NASCAR overtime engaged.
I don't like the start that Bailey Thompson got. He's too far out in front on that restart, and that field's going to gobble him up like Thanksgiving dinner.
He certainly is. Watch the 77 of Mark Parkhurst, and then to the high side, Eli Sasak and David Wright in the 42. Watch the 77, the 42 getting a shove. They're going to wreck here on the backstretch.
Ooh.
They come across, and half the field just wiped itself like toilet paper. We stay green. We stay green. And there's the caution.
Yikes.
Sort of way back here with Hunter Peach. Hey. That's rough. I don't care who you are.
Wow. It looks like just a bad bump and oh boy.
And they were
Caitlin Height involved. Caitlin Height involved in that one. Parkhurst was the one of the drivers that survived it. Taub, he survived it. And the Element car.
Well, this is an interesting development. Oh, or not. They got me.
Did they fake you out again?
No, the 9 really is coming down. The 77 of Parkhurst is going to stay out as well as Kyle Taub, Tyler Ratliff, Nate Blankenship, Ryan Pinnell. It's going to be a lot smaller of a field when we come back green flag racing. There had to be 6 or 7 cars involved in that incident. Well, here we are on the initial night here of the relationship between Sim Racing Media and the HTL Cup Series. And folks, you've already got yourself some bonus racing.
Hey, who doesn't love bonus racing here on a Monday night?
Yeah, especially when it's free on YouTube. Check us out.
And while you're at it, hit the like, subscribe, and share. Get those bells ringing so that way you're notified every time the Sim Racing Media and HTL Cup Series comes live on Sim Racing Media and YouTube. We want to thank Team Conti Sim Performance for being a proud partner of the HTL Cup League.
Pace car still with its lights on. Let's see if we can get a hold of Mark Parkhurst here. And if there he is. Hey, Mark, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I gotcha.
Well, man, listen, here we are, second attempt at NASCAR overtime. What's the strategy besides just throw everything at the floorboard and hope to God that you're faster than everybody else?
Don't run out of fuel.
Uh-oh.
I currently got 2.5 laps, so it's gonna be close.
Closer and closer. It's wafer thin. Oh, my. Well, I mean, here's the thing. Now, you've got a good pusher in Tyler Ratliff behind you. I've watched him most of the evening here. I mean, do you let the people behind you push and you just try to hold defense? Or, what do you do with just that little bit of fuel left?
Raise hell, praise Dale. I don't know, man. We're gonna
the
send it,
answer.
see what happens.
That's the answer right there. All right, my man. Well, listen, good luck and hold on tight.
I'm gonna. Defense hasn't been my strong suit in the past, so we're gonna do best we can, see what we come out with.
All right, brother. Try to bring one home to New Hampshire. Thanks.
Thank you.
Raise hell and praise Dale, he says.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I'm definitely not mad at it.
I mean, how can you be, though?
You can't. It's a law.
Okay.
Lights are out on the iRacing.com pace car. Mark Parkhurst, who you just heard from, he's going to be on the front row alongside of Kyle Traub. Patrick Overstock going to be in P3. Tyler Ratliff, Nate Blankenship, that's your top 5. Ryan Pinnell, Blake Henderson, Josh Gaiman, Dave Smeal, and Steven Oberstadt, that's your top 10. And everybody's got a chance because the race is only just beginning.
We have a lot of comers and goers here, and we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing.
And here they go, green flag in the air. Let's start one overtime once again.
Much better start. Kyle Taub, Mark Parkhurst, side by side, get the advantage to Kyle Taub, and he's got Oberstadt right behind him, pushing him like he's never pushed anybody before. Oh no! You don't have that here at Daytona.
Once again.
This will be the last and final attempt.
Just trying to see if we can find where this all happened. Oh. The 9 tried to bail out and the 42 was there. The 42 tried to bail out, the 9 was there.
You can see that left front brake rotor just glowing.
Yeah, he was definitely holding on for dear life. Well, we're going to pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media. We'll be right back.
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off.
inside. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you here to welcome you back into Daytona International Speedway. Final time we're going to go for the green-white checker in NASCAR overtime. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Sim Racing Media right here on YouTube.com. Yes, Dustin Hall, this is still the first duel. And Richard Ode checking in to see, it's nice to see the double natural up front, you're darn right. But very thankful for all of you who checked in tonight. As you can tell, it's getting a little long in the tooth here in this race. Alan and I sat here and we were just discussing off the air that this isn't the kind of thing that usually happens, but at Daytona, everybody's hungry, everybody's a little itchy, and sometimes that trigger finger has a way of going off. As when we go back green flag racing, it's going to be Patrick Oberstadt, Kyle Taub, Ryan Pinnell, Tyler Ratliff, Blake Henderson, Stephen Oberstadt, Joshua Gaiman, Caitlin Height, Seth Wansing, and Kate Sweat, your top 10.
This is the third and final time for the NASCAR overtime in duel number 1. But don't leave just yet after this one because we have 40 more laps.
That's right, folks. Duel number 2 going to be just after this race. They've got to throw the new session up, and we will get that underway and bring you all of that action. There's going to be a brief break on the YouTube feed, but don't worry. We won't leave you hanging for long as the green flag flies. NASCAR overtime underway one last time. Patrick Oberstadt leads us down into turn number 1 as we widen things out to the blimp to look and see who's going to get a run. It looks like the 54 getting a bump from the 25. That's Blake Henderson, as the 25 is going to have to look and see whether or not they want to go up. And what's going to happen is he's going to have to go. Oh, here they go.
We're
4 wide.
We're
Nope,
4
we're
wide.
not wrecking yet. We're just holding on for dear life. The 3 moves down and out of the way.
That's okay.
Now drafts up to the rear of the 37. That
She's
was
gonna get
near
some Allegiant air.
disaster. The 37's behind the 54. Patrick Oberstadt still leads the way.
Now we're crashing, but that doesn't matter. We're racing back to checkers.
No, here we go. We're racing back to checkers as we are here on the final lap.
Oberstadt Gaiman out there 2 by 2. Here comes Wansing and Peach. They're the 33 car bails on the 60 car.
The white flag presented to you by Henderson Graphics. As we're racing back to the checkered flag, Josh Gaiman, now he's hit. All of a sudden, this is like watching a child with a bunch of Hot Wheels. The 25 almost looks like they just sliced through here like a hot knife through butter. Blake Henderson just came out of nowhere after most of the field has been wrecked on the final lap. The checkered flag flies. That's Blake Henderson, Eli Sasak, Hunter Peach, Steven Oberstadt, and Seth Wansing, your top 5. Tyler Ratliff, Kyle Taub, Caitlin Height, Kate Sweat, and Mark Parkhurst. That's your top 10. So a huge congratulations to Blake Henderson. Oddly enough, who also is the head Mahaf over at Henderson Graphics. And the head Mahaf here in the HTL Cup Series.
It's either I'm mad at the 5 car, or I'm just going to turn you out of celebration. Blake Henderson going to burn it down here on the front straightaway. He's got every reason to celebrate here tonight. What driving that he did on that final lap, and he's going to park it right on the wall and just burn it down. Oh boy, what a run here tonight. Taking that Bojangles number 25 to the front of the field.
And joining us now in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth as he's doing donuts and celebrating on the front stretch, Blake Henderson. Hey, Blake, it's Dave. You got me?
I got you.
Buddy, listen, congratulations on picking up the win here in Duel number 1. And in this, literally the last turn and a half and back to the tri-oval, it was like you had a rocket ship stretch to this Ford. What say you? How do you find yourself here?
Yeah, I tried to go for the lead a little too early, and I dropped back, and I just attached to the back of Steven and made the move before he did. I saw them wreck, and I'm like, you can't win by stopping here, so I just went full through it and shot it in gaps I probably usually wouldn't. I can't believe it.
Yeah, trust me, I couldn't believe it when I saw you coming through there. I thought, holy Christmas, there's a guy who's not listening to the spotter at all.
There was no spotter. I was just full send.
My man, well, listen, before we cut you out of here tonight, and of course I know you've got to go set up the next session, who do you need to thank and who helps you get it done here on the 25 team?
Oh, yeah, everyone at Tombstone and Unforgiven Motorsports, couldn't do it without them. Blankenship Freight Lines is our biggest sponsor, Coley Hawkman Productions, and if you want to check out my little design thing, Henderson Graphics. But yeah, I haven't won in so long, I can't believe it.
Well, congratulations, and of course we're looking forward to see who wins in Duel number 2, but go ahead and celebrate this one while you get things together for Duel 2, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Thank you so much.
That, of course, the voice of Blake Henderson. And second on the podium tonight, Alan, I think you have him, is Eli Sasak.
Eli, wanted to finish one spot better, but nonetheless, what a good run in that number 9 car. What more do you think your car could have needed to maybe had a chance for Blake?
I don't think he could have really done any better in that scenario. I knew they were going to get up to some tomfoolery there, so I was kind of just laying back in the back on the first lap. And then once everybody started wrecking, started making my way through, trying to, get through everything, and I did pretty well. And a few more feet probably had the chance, but that's just kind of the way things go. It was a good car. It was a fast car, and really this is just the test run for the big race next week, and pretty excited for that.
Yeah, what did you take away from the night that you can apply for next Monday night as you guys go 100 laps here at Daytona?
It's very back and forth in how the momentum plays. I feel like you would get the bottom line would have a run, and kind of be at the front for a while, and then the top lane would kind of like make a resurgence a few laps later. It was very back and forth in which lane had the momentum and which was better. But overall, it felt pretty good. I'm pretty excited to see what all 40 cars are on track, especially with I didn't have any of my teammates in this, so hopefully next week I'll be able to hook up with some of the teammates and hopefully they do well in the second heat here as well. But yeah, just looking forward to next weekend. Same old thing, just looking for top 10s.
Hey man, before you get out of here, is there anybody you'd like to thank to help get you here tonight?
Everybody had a cent. Elias, John, Jonathan, Tucker, all of them for joining us for this season. Everybody who's putting in the work. You guys, the broadcasters, everybody here at HTL, and everybody who's watching. My grandparents watch these races, and I believe they're watching right now. So thank you to them as well. They support me a lot in this endeavor. So just really thank you to everybody that's helped. Second place is really good, so that means a third place. No, sorry, fifth place position for next week. So that's pretty exciting for me.
All right, man. Well, congratulations on that second place win and that second place finish. And we'll see you next Monday night at the big one at the big race.
Thank you.
And last but certainly not least, here on our podium tonight is Hunter Peach. Hey, Hunter, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
I got you loud and clear.
Hunter, listen, it was a hard-fought race tonight. You gained 8 spots to finish in third. How do you feel, and do you feel, maybe there was a little bit something left that you left out there, or was it just great to get away from all the mayhem at the end?
I think it was honest as luck, to be honest. I don't even know how we even ended up in the second place position. Last time I checked, we were literally wrecked and literally dead last. So I don't even know what happened the last 2 laps.
Yeah, the last couple of laps were definitely mayhem, to say the least. That's for sure. It was hard for us to keep track of it, and I'm certainly sure that for you drivers that were doing it in real time, that your hands could not have possibly been busier. As we look forward to, of course, next week and the 500, what are you thinking of what's going to be your strategy moving into that?
Obviously, just work well with your teammates, and hopefully, maybe we learned a little bit today, just as a whole. I mean, I made a few mistakes in this race of causing that one incident, which I'm sorry to the 42. I hooked them, but the checkups were pretty bad tonight, to say the least. But yeah, I think it all comes down to luck at these tracks. I don't really think you could take anything from what you learned or what you did to really say, oh, it's gonna work for the 500. But it's just, like I said, it comes down to just dodging wrecks, like you saw at the end.
Yeah, it was definitely a difficult end of this race, but onward and upward, of course, with the 2025 season looming now, as we turn our attention to the big race next week. But before we cut you out of here tonight, who do you need to thank and who helps you get it done here on the 20 team?
Obviously, got to shout out David, allowing me to be a part of this team and also, run it with them. Got to shout out all my teammates, Seth, Tyler. Sadly, Lily couldn't make it tonight. She wasn't feeling very well, so thought the team worked. Really went through a whole opera, and the team really worked really well tonight. Got to shout out 213 Simware, Noah, and NJB Designs for all the paints. Hopefully, we'll have the whole team by next week, so really looking forward to that. Pizza and Wings podcast, Henderson Graphics, what all y'all do over here. Obviously, iRacing for allowing all of us to kind of use this platform to race, and then everybody in this league for what they do.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, congratulations on the P3 finish. We appreciate the kind words. And we'll see you next Monday right here at Daytona International Speedway to race in the Daytona 500. Thank you.
Hopefully, unless Texas in the national championship, so we'll have to see.
Oh, dear. Here we go.
All
right, brother.
Go Horn.
That the voice of Hunter Peach, and that wraps up our post-race interviews. But before we get out of here, let's take one final look at our results. Of course, you can see them right here on the left-hand side of your screen, but let's get something up a little bit nicer, shall we? As we pull that up for you folks, right here in the middle of your screen. Blake Henderson brings home the checkered flag. He's joined on the podium by Eli Sazak and Hunter Peach. Stephen Oberstadt and Seth Wansing round out your top 5, while Tyler Ratliff and Kyle Taub finished 6th and 7th. Caitlin Height, Kate Sweat, and Mark Parkhurst, they round out your top 10, while Patrick Oberstadt finishes in 11th. Dean Clavitt finishes 12th, with Bailey Thompson and Nate Blankenship in 13th and 14th. Ryan Pinnell and Joshua Gaiman come home 15th and 16th, while David Wright and David Smeal round out the rest of the field. Alan, let's go ahead and get ourselves over to the next session. Folks, we're going to turn your attention back to YouTube. Don't go too far away. We'll be right back here on Sim Racing Media.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back to the world center of racing. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth as we're getting ready to grid up for our second duel of the evening here in the HTL Cup Series, as the HTL Cup Series takes their maiden voyage on board with Sim Racing Media. Dale Markowski, he's going to be our race leader. Or I'm sorry, our pole sitter. It's getting a little late in the evening here, and I keep getting a little confused, Alan. Dale Markowski, he's going to be your pole sitter. He's going to be on the inside of Ross Baxter, your outside pole sitter. Tucker Sawyer and Kevin Gibney going to be in row number 2, while John Hagan and Austin Mongold are in row number 3. Jeremy Briault and Elias Flores are going to be in row number 4, and rounding out your starting top 10 is going to be Alfred Denny in the 21 and Zachary Apperson in the 10th position. Matthew Boone and Tommy Reynolds going to be in row number 6, while row 7 going to feature Gary Donaldson and Zachary Meredith. Callie Height and Jonathan Adams going to be in row number 8, while Clayton Hardy and DeMonte Dotson will hold things down in row number 9. And starting shotgun on the field tonight in the final row, going to be Josh Arnold and Richard Ode. 20 cars in the field here for duel number 2 as we get ready to roll. Duel number 1 was exciting. I got to tell you, Alan, that was a fantastic race. I know that there was a lot of overtime toward the end, but what a great race.
Look, if duel number 1 was a precursor to what we're about to see here, I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. Another 40 laps, second first, same as the first. Let's get going. Let's get these cars cranked up to crazy because I'm ready to go.
Just as we're riding along here, trying to get ourselves all settled in for a change, as we go on board with Dale Markowski, our pole sitter. Jeremy Briault back here in the 74. Everybody checking in here. Markowski in the 83, he's going to be alongside of Ross Baxter in the 38. So the 8-3 and the 3-8 here in the front row sit just behind the iRacing.com pace car. We see Alfred Denny in the number 21 Reese's Peanut Butter Cup Ford Mustang back there. The iRacing.com pace car peels on out of turn number 4. And the only thing that's left to do is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab some popcorn, your honey buns, and settle in. Race fans, it's show time!
Here we go, 40 more laps. Duel number 2 underway. Markowski out to the early lead with Sawyer and Hagan right behind him in tow. And we're already getting slicing and dicing.
Yeah, things getting a little chippy back here as we take a peek at Gary Donaldson in the double deuce. He's just ahead of the 88 of Callie Height. Now, Callie here from across the pond is going to get a shot from the 96. That was Clayton Hardy. All of a sudden, we have to start drifting backwards.
That's A-okay. These guys are a lot more spread out right now in early going than they were during duel number 1.
Well, you've got to remember that a lot of these drivers have been off the track for, more than an hour and a half. So a lot of them have let those cars cool down, maybe taken a little nappy nap. I would have. Go on back there to the hauler and relax.
True. Maybe we got some dinner. I don't know. But here we are, all single filed out right now. And you can see, oh man, look, that 21 car, that's going to get me every time I see it. Alfred Denny and that 21 Reese's Peanut Butter Cups car. Oh, we got trouble already. We're going to stay meeting Greendale. That's the 83 car in the wall. He's going to lose wholesale positions.
Yeah, the 83 just got way out of whack. Not sure what happened here. Let's see. In fact, I'm going to run this back by hand because that was ugly. Whatever just happened, it almost looked like maybe the 95 got kind of a rough run here. Let's watch. It looks like the 95 holding just fine. And then, just an accidental hook.
That's a bad bumping.
Well, that's going to cycle the 95 up into the race lead. They go single file all the way back through the 88, which is 11th position, and now the 11 comes to the inside. Callie Height with another connection issue. Of course, I should have known as soon as I clicked on her name that with my luck it was going to cause her to blink.
Look at Gibney there in the 31 car. He's up to 5th position. He's up to 5th position. I want to talk about. Oh, there's that 17 car also on the high line. But just take a moment to talk about Gibney there. He is running 3rd right now and just minding his own business, kind of being there. And that's what you kind of want to do is kind of just be there at the end. A lot of these guys that are locked in are treating this as a test session. Find out who you can work with and find out who's going to be your cooperation.
You know, that's one of the hardest things to do is to figure out who you're going to be friends with for the day. Ordinarily, a lot of these drivers may not even talk to one another, but you know, you get to this point here at Daytona especially, and all of a sudden you have no choice but to cooperate with one another. As we take a look here, Jeremy Birol, he's just ahead of Tommy Reynolds in the 11. Gary Donaldson running in 4th. Callie Height in 5th. Callie Height with another connection issue. It seems like every time we click on her, that happens, so we're going to stay away.
Another driver I want to point out in the scoring pilot, all the way back here in 18th, it's Richard Odie. We've seen Richard Odie in a number of other leagues, including this one. And we get to watch him on Thursday nights with the Racers Elite, and you know, but you know he's one of those drivers that just sort of happens to be there at the end.
Yeah, we take a look here at Richard Ode in the 78, all by his lonesome for the time being. We go up to our race leader, Jeremy Birol. Jeremy now leading Tommy Reynolds, Kevin Gibney, Gary Donaldson, and Clayton Hardy. Callie Height, meanwhile, in the 88, running in 6th position. Giving another bump to the double deuce, that's Gary Donaldson. And then the 37 back here, this is kind of an interesting call. Sorry, the 97, John Hagan. We just heard from him earlier. He's kind of tucking himself in. Everybody getting a little chippy here on lap number 7, and maybe this isn't the time to be doing that. You know, at this stage of the race, you've got to kind of, you know, bide your time. We talked about patience a lot tonight, you know, especially with some of the moves that you have to make in a race like this. We're only 7 laps in, 5.5 minutes into this race itself, and to be completely honest, I mean, these drivers, they can't be, at least in my opinion, they can't be this pushy this early. Not when you're only a fifth of the way into the race.
No, you know, it kind of looking, you know, Dave, kind of looking in the last duel and this duel, it's got that Sunday night NASCAR feel to it with the caliber of drivers that we're seeing here tonight.
Yeah, it definitely has an SNN flavor to it. Of course, you can tune into SNN when the season comes back right here on Sim Racing Media. Of course, we'll be looking to Speed Weeks with them shortly, I hope. So they'll be back with the Clash, and they have a Clash, a Duel, and the 500. Love
That'll be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. What a joy.
Yeah, we got some big things happening here on Sim Racing Media. You know, another debut coming up very shortly for you, Dave. I know you're going to be looking forward to that one.
Yeah, really excited to have Goat Locker Racing with us here on Sim Racing Media. And, of course, you know, the HTL Cup Series, also new to us here on SRM. I want to encourage everybody, speaking of which, we kind of forgot to do this during the first duel, but tune in every Monday night here at 8:10 Eastern on Sim Racing Media. You can look us up. Oh!
Oh, we got big problems.
Geez, right in front of us. You'll have to forgive my partner. He's barely housebroken. Take a look down here at John Hagan. We'll see exactly what might have just happened. And watch John Hagan here in the 97. That's that gold-orange car. The 83 hits the wall. Oh, wait, this was earlier. You'll have to forgive me, folks. It never scrolled on by. Here we go. Let's watch the 17 of Zachary Meredith. Off pace, slides back up into line in front of the 21. This is interesting. Curiouser and curiouser. There's the 88 and the 11.
Here we go. Right there.
Oh, there it is. Oy,
Oh.
hey. Well, what that's going to do is trigger wholesale pit stops. Now, Clayton Hardy choosing to stay out, though. But everybody from Gary Donaldson in P2 all the way back through Zachary Apperson in P17, they're all going to come down. It was definitely an interesting wreck.
I think that was a net code. That had to be a net code.
It was as close to net code as it's going to be. Everybody's scrambling off a pit road while Clayton Hardy, I guess he's decided he's going to stay out a little bit longer. Maybe just keep that fuel in the car, lighten the car up, keep your fuel load a little lighter.
Blake Henderson checking in the YouTube.com live chat saying it's a little too early to make those moves, and well, couldn't agree more.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, and, you know, we've talked about patience a lot tonight, Alan. We've talked about, you know, when to make the move and how to make the move. And, you know, unfortunately, this just seems to be a situation where, you know, somebody gets a little too antsy, a little bit too soon, that trigger finger goes off, and boom goes the proverbial dynamite.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to pull the trigger too quickly, but nonetheless, you know, Clayton Hardy's going to find himself up 16 spots because of that. And Zachary Meredith, your favorite paint scheme of the night there with Thomas and friends. And, you know, shout out to these drivers. You know, I think starting in duel number 2, you'd be at somewhat of an advantage. So here we are getting lined up 2 by 2 behind the iRacing.com pace car. We're going to do it in Noah's Ark style. '96 Aurora's checking in.
I have the weirdest update.
Okay.
From the front office. It turns out Clayton Hardy is Carmen Sienna.
You know, I was just getting ready to say that from the...
I just got this in my DMs. There's some kind of a glitch in iRacing where the 96 of Clayton Hardy is actually not Clayton Hardy. It's Carmen Sienna.
Okay.
It wasn't...
You know, that's what Shaggy said, but hey.
Someone's drunk at the wheel for this one. And for a change, it's not me.
I will say this: when we're wrong, YouTube is the first people to correct us. Shout out to the correction there. Thank you for that. I think YouTube.com live chat pays attention sometimes and catches those things.
Well, it's just interesting. As we get ready to go back green flag racing, it's going to be Carmen Sienna. This is going to mess with me all night. Carmen Sienna, Zachary Meredith, Tommy Reynolds, Alfred Denny, Tucker Sawyer, Elias Flores, John Hagan, Jonathan Adams, Josh Arnold, and Zachary Apperson. That's going to be your top 10 as we work here on lap number 12. It's going to be 13 when we come back to the line. The iRacing.com pace car peels on down pit road. The 96 hits the restart zone, and we're back underway.
And who right behind him? Tommy Reynolds in that number 11 car, right behind him, about 10 spots behind Carmen Sienna.
Watch the 11 and the 17. The 17 is going to get a run here. He's going to have to go somewhere with all of that momentum. And he may have to slide in front of Alfred Denny and maybe take some of that momentum away from Denny in order just to stay with the pace. Up too soon, not so fast, my friend, says Jonathan Adams in the 91. He slides in front of Denny and takes that top line away. Now all of a sudden we've got Carmen Sienna on the low side. Just behind Sienna is Tommy Reynolds, Zachary Meredith. That's your top three. And the 17 now looks in the rearview mirror and watches the 95 of Tucker Sawyer slide up to the high side. Now they're going to pair up and try to use some of the speed and some of the momentum coming off of the 91 of Jonathan Adams to try to get up here and around Carmen Sienna in the 96.
Well, Zach Meredith, Thomas and friends got some friends in the form of that 95 car of Tucker Sawyer. And here we go. We're dueling now.
This is what a duel is all about. Watch the 17 now. Slides to the high side, opens the door for Zachary Apperson in the 4 to come up here behind Tommy Reynolds. So now it goes 96, 11, and 4 on the low side, the 17, the 95. And, of course, just behind there is the deuce of Josh Arnold. We see the 21 peeking around but trying to hold things together for the time being. Alfred Denny now, as things are starting to cool off just a little bit, everybody takes a deep breath here. Now you kind of have to look around. You've got to decide how you're going to get yourself up into the next position. Do you kind of hang out and play it safe? We're still not at the halfway point, so we've got some time as we're just about 25 laps to go.
Oh boy, I thought, if you're wondering where in the world Carmen Sienna is, well, Carmen Sienna is in the front, leading this piece. Here comes the 2 car of Josh Arnold leading that outside line. He's going to take the lead pretty handedly. I'm not so sure I would have bailed on that outside line right away, though.
No, the outside line here at Daytona, more so at Talladega than here at Daytona, carries a lot of momentum and a lot of speed.
Whoa, Carmen, easy.
That's all right. Carmen's going to slide on back there. That's the 96. Now the 17 giving a little bit of a love tap to John Hagan up in the 97. Watch the 97. The 96 of Carmen Sienna just behind the 97. We're going to go on board right here. All kinds of ridiculous coming off the 11 as he drafts right up to the rear of the 95 of Tucker Sawyer. Watch Sawyer here with 24 to go. We're going to go on board now with Alfred Denny in the 21, who's about to give a love tap here to the 91 of Jonathan Adams. Adams drops to the low side. That opens the door for a little bit more momentum for the 21 to draft up to the rear of the 96. But now the 91 took all of that speed and slides up to the race lead. And now your race leader is the 91, Jonathan Adams, in his Toyota Camry. In the Ascent Toyota Camry being pushed along by Thomas the Tank Engine. Oddly enough, that's one of the jobs that the Tank Engine does, as it shunts cars in the rail yard. But now the deuce of Josh Arnold rides the high side. They've got a little bit of extra speed up there, as Josh Arnold is shoved by John Hagan down the backstretch. Here they come toward turn number 3. Side by side they go. They're drag racing on the backstretch.
Here comes Thomas and his friends on the inside line. Zach Meredith pushing that 91 car for all it's worth. Has to back off, because remember, with the new iRacing update, these cars can get permanent motor damage, and you cannot wait on pit road to get these cars fixed.
Yeah, you've got to really take care of your equipment here, especially now since that update that you mentioned. And I mean, here's the thing. For a long time, you used to be able to sit down there for 30 minutes, get a new motor, bada bing, bada boom, you were back out there. Now, not so much. That's not the case as we watch. All of a sudden, the 97 dropping right in front of the 91. That's John Hagan coming down in front of Jonathan Adams.
Well, Dolik now riding in that 10th position. Here's our friend Richard Odie in that number 78 car. And he is up 10 spots from where he started from.
Richard Ode running in 10th position. Now slides to 11th. It's going to be a little tight here. He's tucked in right behind Elias Flores in the Ascent number 99. As it's going to go the 21, the 99, and the 78 with the 83 in tow. That's Dale Markowski bringing up the rear of that pack. A couple of drivers falling off the pace. They may be in a pretty good spot for the time being, as we're 21 to go, going to be 20 to go at the line as they come down the back chute toward turn number 3. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. We want to thank all of you for coming along for the ride tonight. Here is the HTL Cup Series makes its debut on Sim Racing Media's airwaves on YouTube.com. We want to thank everybody for tuning in, whether we're on your phone or in your home, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. We appreciate you checking in. Make sure that you subscribe and tune in and turn on those bell notifications so you can be told every time we go live here on Sim Racing Media.
Richard Odie, one of those guys that's a great plate racer. I mean, he's pretty good at it. I mean, he's one of those guys that kind of went behind you. And, I mean, he's methodically worked his way up to the top 10.
20 laps to go. The 17 of Zachary Meredith just dropped down to the low side. All of a sudden, we're starting to see that high line do its feeder thing as nearly window net touching goes the 96 and the 97. They're starting to get a little wobbly. There must have been a breeze of wind coming down the front stretch right across the grass because everybody wobbled at the same time. What I was talking about, though, is that top line becomes a feeder line. Everybody's got the speed up there. They kind of get themselves wound up. And right here we see the 91 and the 97. The 91's going to, whoa, boy, the 96 getting all kinds of sideways. That's Carmen Sienna in the 96, not Clayton Hardy. But that top line becomes a feeder line. The question is, how long do you stay up there before you drop down to the low side? Right now, the 97 doesn't have the clearance, but when the 97 is clear, does he wait for the 91 and the 21 to come along, or does he drop down and kind of leave them out there? And then that abandons them, and it kind of leaves them, like sitting ducks. And it's also, for lack of a better term, rude. You leave the people that help you get to where you got all by their lonesome, as the 17 just comes up and takes away all of the momentum off the 97 of John Hagan.
Yeah, Zach Meredith just killed John Hagan's run. And that's what they do here at Daytona and Talladega. You kill that run. And now Carmen Sienna's got to work that much harder to get back up to the front. Zach Meredith is using John Hagan and Jonathan Adams there. And now that number 97 car is going to drop to the bottom.
The 9, oh God, right across the nose of the 17, we go under caution. As this could affect about half the field, it appears, as everybody tries to scramble back for safety. They don't find it. Goodness gracious, let's see where this all broke out. This is going to start somewhere in and around Tyler Meredith. Watch Meredith here. Makes contact with the 96 and collects the 97. And like Matchbox cars, everybody goes everywhere.
Yikes.
Second caution of the night here in duel number 2. Zachary Meredith leads the way. See if we can get a hold of Meredith. And nope, just kidding. Zachary Meredith not in the Discord. Carmen Sienna going to lead the way down pit road with the 21. The 21, the 2, it looks like also the 95, the 97, the 11. Wholesale pit stops underway, but Zachary Meredith, Josh Arnold, and Elias Flores all stay out. They last came in on lap number 10. These drivers may think that they've got enough fuel now to make it to the end without having any issues.
Yeah, absolutely. And, 16 laps to go, Zachary Meredith, continues to lead the way. And I believe that's going to they should cycle Josh Arnold up to the front. Dave, I don't know if you know this, but Hilo Casaneves is going to drive the number 91 Trackhouse Chevrolet in the 500 miler in February. So,
really,
came across.
Interesting.
And that's the cool thing about NASCAR is they, a lot of IndyCar guys like to come and try it out. SVG, he's going to be running for Rookie of the Year this year in the Cup Series. So it's cool to see these guys come from different disciplines. Especially back in the early 90s when you had Steve Kinzer, the king of the outlaws, driving the 26 Quaker State car.
Yeah, I'm interested.
That's the other thing too. Is now that the gearing, now that NASCAR has essentially gone to sequential shifting, it's cool to these are the closest thing to the V8 supercars in Australia as you will get.
Right.
So
makes sense.
It's kind of cool to see like your SVGs and stuff. And I don't know if you had the chance to watch the High Limit Sprint Car Series over in Australia, but I did, and it was cool seeing Kyle Larson win $100,000 in Australia at Perth.
That I did not see.
That was his first win in Australia ever, or at Perth, not ever, but at Perth. He's never won at Perth, and he wins his own. He wins $100,000 sprint car race over there. And then what does he do? He gets on a plane, flies, essentially does the Marty McFly and comes and races in the Tulsa Shootout.
You have my attention.
Which none other than Christopher Bell picks up that one. And then the first thing he says when he gets out of the car is he goes, "Got 4 words for you." And he goes, "Thanks, Joe Gibbs." Thank you, Joe Gibbs is what he starts off his Victory Lane interview. So shout out to Christopher Bell for winning the Tulsa Shootout, getting another golden driller.
Well, you'll have this in a small town.
Nonetheless,
when we go back Green Flag Racing, it's going to be Zachary Meredith, Josh Arnold, Elias Flores, Dale Markowski, Callie Height, Gary Donaldson, Tommy Reynolds, Jeremy Brialt, Ross Baxter, and Clayton Hardy, your top 10.
15 laps left to go in here in this one. And we're going to have, like you said, Zach Meredith, Josh Arnold on your front row. I don't think we go overtime in this one. I think the guys watched that first duel and said, let's not do that.
Happens.
And at any rate, the NASCAR, the iRacing.com pace car pulls off the racetrack, giving the field to Meredith and Arnold, and we are back to green flag racing. 14 laps to go, and Meredith takes off like he was shot out of a cannon, but here comes Josh Arnold. Up 17 spots, he's going to quickly gather up and get to the back bumper of that 17 car.
The 83 starting to slide back a little further. There's Dale Markowski, as Markowski now goes side by side with the 96 of Carmen Sienna. This is going to drive me nuts.
Well, right now, the only person being drove nuts is that 11 car, as he's looking for help on the outside line. And here comes the 97 car. He's going to try to make a move. He's going to try to get there in the mix. Right now, the inside line's got the lock on the field right now. They are single filed out. Here we go. Now we're getting cars going from the top to the bottom. Callie Height getting a little bit of connection issues. That's going to play havoc on the rest of the field.
That's the four of Zachary Apperson here at the back of this group, now waiting to bring along the 91. And Jonathan Adams starts to draft himself in, but we're not really there just yet. Everybody's still kind of trying to hold on for dear life to some degree.
As we are on board with Zachary Apperson and that number 4 car out of Kinston, North Carolina. 13 laps to go. We're high up on the roof there. And you can see him just getting sucked up to that bumper of the car in front of him. And that's that 28 car, Matthew Boone.
Callie Height with a connection issue just in front of the PNC Bank, number 96. And the scary thing there is that in draft like this, I mean, you've got 3, 4, and 5 cars around you. Having a connection issue like that is, number 1, nerve-wracking for the drivers around you. Number 2, dangerous as all get out.
You couldn't have said it any better. We want to thank Team Conti Sim Performance for being a partner here at HTL, the HTL Cup Series. And, Michael Conti, the owner of Team Conti, pro driver himself, retired from the Coca-Cola NASCAR Series, and he's just a great supporter of iRacing and everything iRacing involved in, and he, just to have Team Conti's performance a part of this league is great.
Oddly enough, Michael Conti is also the name of the lead organist of the Macy's here in Philadelphia, and the Grand Court organ built by John Wanamaker. Not the same Michael Conti, no.
In to go, and Tommy Reynolds continues to lead us. Here comes Thomas the Tank and Zachary Meredith trying to get something going on the front, trying to get something going on the bottom line. Wow.
Hattiesburg, Mississippi native Josh Arnold giving the bump here to the 17. We get to watch some of this bump drafting, and wow. I mean, these guys, you can hear those RPMs just whining all the way up. And even in the turn, a lot of drivers won't do this, but obviously the 2 and the 17 have practiced this more than once, as coming out of 4, you can get a little bit loose. The 17 manages to keep its momentum and poise as we come across the line. Keep an eye right here on the deuce as we see exactly what was going on. I mean, that was just incredible to watch that bumping. And, like I said, a lot of people, they kind of back off in the turns to avoid, maybe too much of a hit or too little of a hit and causing a wreck. So they try not to push during a turn, but obviously you know, these drivers, especially, you know, Joe and the 17 Zachary, are used to working together. Hattiesburg, Mississippi, also the home of Brett Favre, I believe.
Hattiesburg, Mississippi. By the way, if everybody knows Dave here in Sim Racing Media knows that he is a fan of the Dallas Cowboys. How could you not be? But this weekend, why would you be? But he did get the chance to partake in a Phillies game and came out the other side of it. Next year, I'm calling it now. Next year, you're going to be sporting some Philly gear.
No. For starters, it was a Philadelphia Eagles game. And upon walking into the stadium, I immediately got nauseous. Because I felt like I didn't belong. I was not one of them.
I thought you were going to pull like a lane off of Seinfeld and wear like a Cowboys jersey.
No, but you know, no, I wasn't going to wear. No, I wasn't going to wear an Orioles hat to Yankee Stadium. But I'll tell you this, you know, for all the things that people say about Philadelphia sports and how awful some of the fans are here, it's 1,000% accurate. I wish that I was being sarcastic. It's 1,000% accurate. And the thing is, you know, you go to a NASCAR race, like here at Daytona, we've been to Homestead, of course. I've been to Dover. You know, sometimes it's porta potties. A lot of times it's, you know, bathrooms that are outdoor bathrooms, whatever the situation is. But generally, at every racetrack and race that I've been to, the bathrooms have been okay. You know, like they've met certain standards. Like I could find soap and paper towels. At Lincoln Financial Field, it's a dump. And I'm not just saying that as a Cowboys fan. I'm saying that as a fan of football and a judge of public bathrooms. Of course, the only urinal that was open when I went to the bathroom on the way out had vomit on the top, poop in the urinal, and pee on the floor. So,
oh boy,
yeah, it was fabulous. 6 laps to go, and our new race leader is Tommy Reynolds here in the 11 machine. He leads John Hagan and Jeremy Beralt in the 74. Jeremy now holding on to third position with Dale Markowski, your pole sitter, right here in the 83 behind him.
We're in turn. Okay. 5 laps to go to the handshake lap. 5 flanges in the air. And that 17 car just can't get nothing going there on that inside line. It's like he doesn't have enough help. Help the boy out.
It's almost like he doesn't have good pushers behind him. Of course, he's also a little wobbly himself. When we saw that a little while ago. But right now, the 2, not a bad pusher. Josh Allen is giving him the business. I see it. I saw it.
Did Thomas get hurt?
Nope. The 2.
Oh.
So the 2's not going to be a good pusher.
Well, just as I said, hey, here comes that inside line. And that's Zach Meredith to the 5th position as they're starting to gain some more momentum. The 17 car says, I got to try to make a race out of it.
4 laps to go. Tommy Reynolds, your race leader. He's followed by John Hagan and Jeremy Beralt. It's been a long night here in the HTL Cup Series, live on Sim Racing Media. But Dave Regal and Alan Bergen are with you here every step of the way. 3 laps to go now. And the HTL Cup Series first night on Sim Racing Media has been quite the color for one as we get ready to set the field for next week's Daytona 500, which will be live right here on Sim Racing Media. I want to quick pull up the schedule here. We didn't get a chance to do it earlier. Of course, next week going to be the Daytona 500, 125 laps, so it's not 500 miles. Then the following week we'll be at Homestead, Miami for 145 laps, and then Week 3 going to be January 27th at Kentucky. As we cross the start-finish line, the popsicle sticks go in the air with 2 laps to go.
Popsicle sticks coming in the air. Zach Meredith still fighting to hang on for all it's worth. But here comes Tommy Reynolds. He's going to lead this field out of turn number 1 and 2. They just, look, they only got to put together 8 perfect corners.
6 corners from here, 5 as they come through turn 3 into 4. Tommy Reynolds leads the way with the 97. We're 2 laps to go and the race still hasn't begun, but all of a sudden the 83 just slices down, tries to pull the same move that they did in the first race. And all of a sudden the 83 of Dale Markowski charges here on the low side with Zachary Meredith in tow. Meredith's been waiting for someone to be his drafting partner all night long. Oh, good Lord. That was almost a disaster. As the popsicle sticks go down, the white flag is in the air. We're racing back to checkers.
What a block. What a block.
They're going to wreck right here. You watch. Here comes the 28 sideways into the 17. The 17 trying to shove his way up here behind the 83. Markowski runs in P number 2. The 11 now comes to the high side, trying to cut his way through. He's going to wind up having to whack John Hagan right in the rear bumper. There's the 17 wrecking. Coming across the line is John Hagan, Dale Markowski, and Elias Flores. That's your top 3. Your top 5 is Josh Arnold, Ross Baxter, Zachary Apperson, Zachary Meredith, Callie Height, DeMonte Dotson, and Kevin Gibney Jr. That's your top 10 here in Duel number 2. Live from Daytona International Speedway. Congratulations to John Hagan, who wins tonight's race. Who wins tonight's second race, that is. Good gravy. Oh, what a night.
Wow. Okay. Well, just as you said that, we got our podium up here in the waiting room waiting on us.
John Hagan, it's Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I do. How do you do?
Buddy, congratulations on picking up the W here in Duel number 2. Knightdale, North Carolina's got to be proud of you right now.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was fun working with Tommy. I'm good buddies with him, and we were all on the same page there, even without talking to each other about what we wanted to do to control this race. And the setup was good enough that nobody on the bottom could make any headway while we were linked up on the top. And I had Jeremy behind me, my own team car that I own, pushing me. And all in all, last lap is going to be the last lap, but that was awesome.
Yeah, definitely a different race than Duel number 1, but that's what makes these races special. That's what makes the qualifying races to come to Daytona different than everything else in sports. I mean, 2 separate races, 2 different stories, and at the end of the night here, you get to stand up with the trophy from Duel number 2 as you bring it to a rest here on the start-finish line. As we get ready to look toward next week, obviously you're going to be on the front row for the Daytona race. What are you looking forward to, and what's going to be the strategy next week?
A lot of the same of what you saw today, starting in the second row. Get myself to the front, make myself known up front. And earlier in the race today, I had some issues avoiding cars getting a little wicked, so I did end up dropping to the back just because I didn't want to die. And I got spun from the lead or something? I don't know. And we are still winning. So a whole lot of keeping myself to the front. That's how I've always ran these races. If you're in the front, you can't really get caught up with stuff behind. So that's what I'm going to do.
Well, that's a true story, and obviously you get the Ascent Racing name out here nice and early on the season, that's for sure. Before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank and who helped you get it done tonight on the 97 team?
Shout out my teammates at Ascent Racing. They are awesome, and they were in the voice chat with me, working with me, talking me through. Shout out my own cars. Also, Mongol didn't have a great race, but Jeremy was there in third, pushing me. And Tommy in front, he's basically a team car too. with them, and he's a great help. And shout out Eli for putting me on. Shout out y'all for doing the broadcast. Shout out HTF for putting on this race.
All right, my friend, we appreciate the kind words. Good luck next week right here at Daytona, and get yourself ready. It's going to be a heck of a ride.
Thank you. Y'all be watching.
We certainly will. That was the voice of John Hagan. And, Alan, I think you have with you now on pit road Dale Markowski.
And Dale Markowski, you put it on the outside pole for the race next week, and then you start pole here on duel number 2, and here you are finishing one spot below where you started from. Take us to that race and what more you needed to get by John Hagan.
The race was, I had fun with the race. I was trying to set up that could, suck up a little bit more, but Hagan did a good job tonight. I think I got wrecked on like lap 2 from the lead just because someone was shoving me on my right rear coming out of 4. So, as far as what I needed more, I mean the end of those plate races are just pure chaos. There's really not much you can do other than just try and make the right move at the right time. I was trying to see if I can get outside of him right out of 4, but Tommy Reynolds was just on my quarter panel. I didn't want to wreck the entire field. So I was kind of pinched down at the bottom, was just trying to do what I could there. It was full throttle. No one was lifting. I knew I could be a little more aggressive with, being second or outside pole locked in. So end of the day, I had a good time. I think I learned a lot for next Monday's race, and I'm definitely looking forward to it.
All right, well, before we get you out of here, is there anybody you'd like to think to help get you here tonight?
I don't know. I just had a good time. I want to give a shout out to Stephen Oberstadt for giving me the ride this year in CBR. I've had a lot of fun, race with him over the years, so I gotta give him a shout out, as well as my other teammates, Patrick Oberstadt and Ross Baxter. They're really good on these super speedway races, and I'm looking forward to race with them next Monday as well as the entire season.
All right, well, congratulations on the podium finish, and we'll see you next Monday.
All right, thank you, guys.
And last but certainly not least, on our podium tonight, driver of the number 99, Elias Flores. Hey, Elias, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir.
Well, man, listen, you finished third on the podium tonight. Not a bad night overall, as, of course, we're looking toward the big race next week right here at Daytona. How do you feel tonight, and how are you going to learn what you did tonight on the racetrack and apply that for next week?
Well, I was just honestly cruising for most of the race, and then at the final little 5-lap stint, things are starting to get a little crazy. I just stuck to my line and ended up in a good spot. So I think that we're tweaking things with the setup and just going to make next week even better, hopefully with this good starting position.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a good start off to the season, especially, it gives you a little bit of a boost of confidence, gets you through the race. And, one of the things that I think was interesting tonight is all of the patience that I saw out of the racetrack. I mean, obviously, duel number 1 had a bunch of cautions right toward the end of the race, but tonight you guys were pretty clean. How do you explain that, and how does that affect your mentality as a driver?
Well, I think that I prefer when we are clean, but I know that things get a little bit crazy sometimes, but just learning patience from everyone around you, learning who can stick to their line and who can't, figuring out when to make moves at the right time, and ultimately I just play the long game and let the cards fall into my hands.
Yeah, sounds like at least you had your head screwed on tightly to your shoulders instead of, losing some patience tonight, that's for sure. Before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank and who helped you get it done tonight on the 99?
Well, number one, I want to thank my wife. She's the only one in my real life who supports me in this, so I thank her 100% all the way. I'd like to thank Eli Sass for giving me this opportunity. John Hagan, Jonathan Adams, Tucker, of course, for being part of the team last minute. Just everyone part of the Ascent camp back at home, and yeah, thanks to you guys and HTL for putting this thing on for us.
All right, my friend, listen, congratulations once again, and we'll see you next week right here at Daytona.
All right, thank you.
Well, Alan, first one in the books for the season. No points tonight, but at the end of the day, still a great set of races, great qualifying, just a busy, long night here in the booth.
Absolutely, but before we get out of here, let's take care of some housekeeping business and go over those final results one last time here from Daytona. As you know, Dave, you did the first 20. I'll do this 20, and John Hagan's going to park it in victory lane with Dale Markowski bringing it second. Rounding out your podium will be Elias Flores with Josh Arnold finishing fourth. Rounding out your top 5 will be Ross Baxter. Finishing sixth will be Zachary Epperson, while Zachary Meredith brings it home 7th. 8th will go to Kylie Height. DeMonte Dotson will bring it home 9th or 10th. Will go to Kevin Gibney Jr., while Carmen Sienna will bring it home 11th. Tucker Sauer will bring it home 12th. Tommy Reynolds will bring it home 13th. 14th will go to Matthew Boone. Alfred Denny will bring it home 15th. 16th will go to Jeremy Barat. Jonathan Adams will bring it home 17th. Gary Donaldson will bring it home 18th. Richard Odie will bring it home 19th. And winning the race to the beer stand will be Austin Mongold. And that's just going to about do it here from Daytona. As we
get ready to pull the curtains closed for the evening here, we want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. And of course, as always, we want to tell everybody how much we appreciate you. We appreciate Team Conti. We appreciate Premier Setup Shop. And of course, we appreciate all of you for making us a part of your evening. So for myself, Dave Regal, and my broadcast partner extraordinaire, my brother from another mother, Mr. Alan Bergen, we want to thank you for hanging out with us for the last few hours here. And tomorrow, as you walk down the road of life, please don't plan traffic. Good night, everybody.